So I'm going to do this tutorial assuming you know nothing about Windows. So first of all, if you don't touch your mouse and keyboard, the screen will like go into screensaver. Just move your mouse, don't touch anything, just move your mouse and it will like turn back on the screen. Okay, so if you want to first verify Wi-Fi, how do you go into check if Wi-Fi is on? So I'm connected to my 4G on my phone because there's no router here. So you must have Wi-Fi. So here you go onto this small icon here. Usually it's a different icon, but now it's on Wi-Fi icon. It's next to the sound. And then here you can select whichever one you want to connect to, okay? So that's how you connect to Wi-Fi. If you want to check what is connected, like external hard drives, such as the hard drive you will need to use, here is where you can see if it's connected. Okay, here you can see this connected. Okay, now if you wanna see Files Explorer, all you need to do is pull your mouse to the bottom. This will open up. So all I need to do is bring my mouse on the bottom. It will open up. I made it. So this is File Explorer. Okay. And it's like Finders in macOS. And here you can go like to downloads. You can expand the thing. So if I want to go to this Mac, you can see also here it's connected. So the 16 terabyte is connected. This is the SD card. So we want to go to the 16 terabytes down here. Okay. Or you can like click from here and go inside from there. So here there's no column views like on Mac, right? Here you go inside and you open folder. If you want to go back, you go to this section here. So if I want to go into 16 terabytes, if I want to go into projects, Crystal, and video 1, if I want to go back into Crystal, I just go and click Crystal, okay? And I'm back here, okay? If I wanna go back in another way, I can click here the arrow, and I can go backwards or forwards where I went. Okay, but there's no columns like you're used to in Mac, so it's different. Okay, that's something you will have to get used to. And then here is to delete, rename, copy or cut, anything, but you won't need to do that. But that's how you select things. Okay. If you want to command, so that's Finders. That's how simple it is. Now, if I want to, so first video I want to edit. Let's go into File Explorer. Let's go into 16 terabytes AM. Let's go into Project, Crystal, and what I want to edit. I don't like this view. Maybe detailed view. Here is to change the view. So detailed view is better. I want to edit a hard one, so if I can, right, I'm gonna have to do this one by one. No. So here, you made a mistake. You have two different slides for a single video, and that's going to be like, let's say, the hardest one to edit. So I'm going to do this one, okay? So I'm going to create a folder, new folder, and name it exports, okay? And I'm going to name it 01 point space, okay? Exports. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to name it footage, okay? I'm gonna name it 02 space, no, dot space, okay? Now, you do this for every single project. You must do this, every single one. Now you go here and you write, you might audio, so audio, now you put no numbers, but this is just to make sure this is at the top. Everything else we don't care. Audio. Now we put here SFX, sound effects. So audio is going to be like like the voice maybe, or the music, things like that. SFX is for sound effects. And we always get used to doing these folder structures. Is very important. Then we're gonna put project. So here is where we're going to store the project. We're gonna store it inside with the project folder, which is video 11 in this case. So project. You can add video 11 or 11 at the start of everything if that helps. Sorry, go back. All right. And let's see another one. What was it? All right, so, okay. So now I'm back. If you want to change the name, so you hold Alt, and here you click. So Alt, click, project, and I'm going to name it backup, okay? And press OK. Because I prefer project backup. And here, Alt, click. I'm going to name it stills. So everything which is, let's say, like images and stuff, we name it stills for certain technical reasons. And this is very important too. This one is very important. So I'm gonna say which ones are priority to always put in. Proxies. All right. So these folder structures, you should always have these folders inside each video. So video 10 should have this same folder structure. Video 11 should have the same. Look, even though you're not gonna use some of the folders, you should always have them present to be able to organize everything properly in the long run. So this is thinking very long run. So you're gonna add this into footage, all right? So footage now has these videos inside, okay? And yeah. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna go and open up DaVinci. So how do you open up DaVinci? You click once, you wait, you see this message, do you allow this app to make changes to device? You always say yes. Always say yes. There's no reason not to. You want to give as much access to your Windows and softwares for the application. You might see a different loading screen than mine, but doesn't matter. Here, I'm gonna recreate this, delete this. All right. So here we're gonna create a new folder. I wanna name it Christelle. You don't need to do this step, but this is what I'll do. Crystal. And I'm gonna name it Project. Crystal Project. So this is you, okay? And I'm gonna create a new project. So new project down here. Everything into a single project. So every single video into a single project. So I'm gonna name it Christelle. I'm gonna name it Law. I'm gonna change location to projects, Crystal, and project backups. Boom. I'm gonna create new folder actually. I'm gonna name it DaVinci Resolve Projects Backups Christelle. All right, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to select this folder. Okay, so I'm going to create the project. Boom. I'm going to bring this. So I'm going to, if you don't see from my iPhone, I'm going to bring this down. Go into that small thing on the screen right here. Wait until it goes full screen. Boom. You let go. All right. Okay. So now we're here. What we want to first do, we want to go into media, and now we want to locate everything. So we're going to go into 16 terabytes, projects, Crystal. And if you don't like this, I'm going to show you another way. You want to go to list. So here you can change the views from here to here, whatever you think of. So we're gonna go to sort them out by file name. All right, file name. So video 11 footage. And you drag everything and drop it. If you don't like this method, what you can do, you can just right click here, because here is where you're gonna put your folders, right? Your videos. This is like your finders, and this is like File Explorer, and this here is where you're gonna actually tell the program where the files, like what files you want to add in the project. So here, we're gonna go into right click, import media, and now you can, if you find this better, you can go into 16 terabytes, project, Christelle, video 11, footage, and now you can get this, slide it, select it, open it. You say change frame rate, yes, because once you do this, you can't change it anymore. So you got to change it at the start. So change, yes, please. Now now I'm gonna make sure. So right here, I'm gonna go on the eye of the green screen, 23.976. I'm gonna go down here, project settings, just to make sure. Where's the frame rate? 23.976. It did not change, so we're gonna change that ourselves. Yes, change, check, 23.976. 23.976. Okay, perfect. So now we're gonna go down into edit folder and edit section. Here is where you are going to edit. This is where you're gonna spend all your time doing your work, is in this section, the edits section. So get used to seeing this. Okay, so all right, so first of all, I changed location for everything. So I'm gonna so everything is gonna you're not gonna edit from the external hard drive. As you see, there is no 16 terabyte hard drive. It's not connected. I only want you to use the local disk, which is internal disk. So we're gonna go to Documents, Christelle, and I changed the clicking to double click because I don't like it clicking once. I like to open something by double clicking. That's the better way. Before it was put at one click. All right, so here are the videos, and I put it until 96 videos. So once you finish 96 videos edited and exported, we will transfer them to the hard drive and transfer the videos that are remaining. So I went half. So half of the videos you created is 96, so I added 96. That's a decent amount of terabytes. In terms of size, this is 1.6 terabytes almost. So that's pretty much a lot. So the videos are in here, okay? They're in video 11, in the footage folder, and here they are. So we're gonna tell the DavinCi that, look, I changed the location so you can't find them anymore. They're not in the same place. So I'm gonna tell you, look, I'm gonna locate these disks, and they're in here in Christelle, and they're in video 11, and I can say select folder, and they found the videos. Boom, there they are. So here we are, okay? So what I first want to do, I want to organize this. So we're gonna have to create a folder for a bin, and that's a folder. Bin is folder in DaVinci. We're gonna name it same as the one we have in File Explorer. So footage, boom. We're gonna drag and drop everything here. We're gonna grab Christelle, bring it here, and here is the edit page. So here is the timeline. In the timeline, you can grab this, grab the playhead. This is called the playhead. You can slide it. If you want to go, this is the start of the video. This is the further you go on. If you want to press play, you press spacebar.
Nationality.
I'm gonna mute it, so mute it down here. I'm gonna press spacebar. Boom. All right. I think I'm a bit too far, so I want to zoom in. I'm gonna do Alt, scroll inside, all right? And I can really see what's happening. I can really see, so here there's silence and here there's audio, okay? So if you wanna see, here there's a silence.
These rights exist simply because a person is human.
Okay. Now, let's see, I wanna center my playhead, okay? I can't center it. So you hold Control and you scroll downwards. That's gonna go right, and you scroll upwards, it's gonna go to the left. So left and right. This is gonna be to move, okay? This is only for you to be able to view what you're doing better. So you wanna go here, you wanna see what's happening next, you go here. And as you see here, there's no sound, so you're gonna hear the sound, and then there's no sound.
Equally important is
okay. Now, if you want to see the whole, if you want to really see inside, so you can click this one, and that's going to be a detailed analysis. That's going to zoom in a lot, and that's helpful. But if you want to zoom in even more to see further more, you're going to do Alt scroll, and you're going to zoom in much more with Alt scroll. This is very simple, okay? Alt scroll to zoom in, Control to move. All right, and if you want to see everything, so let's say you want to go back to, you're like, oh, I'm this side, I want to go and see the end of the video. All right, so I go here, and I can click here, and that's gonna bring me where the same zoom as I like to work with. So if I like to work with this zoom, I go outwards and I go back here, it's gonna bring me back, okay? If I like to work with this zoom, I go outwards, I go back here, and it's gonna bring me back to my last custom zoom, okay? So that's self-explanatory for you to be able to navigate. So you see, I wanted to go back to the start. I couldn't go back to the start. So I can even grab my playhead, go to the very end. I can grab my playhead, go to the very end, and it's gonna go to the end. But if you wanna make sure, you click this button, you can see, boom, here I'm to the end, okay? And sometimes you might do this by accident, so just make sure you zoom out, you go here, zoom in again, or zoom in as much as you want to, okay? If you want, you can grab this slider and you can zoom in here this way if you feel comfortable, or you can press the minus and the plus and you can zoom in better. So this is all for you to be able to view and navigate what you're doing and see what you're doing. Then here are the waveforms. The waveforms, sometimes they will turn on, sometimes they will turn off. So, I mean, sometimes you will see them, sometimes not. If you don't see them, I don't know why, but I just sometimes wait, or I delete it, or I delete it, and I add it again. You see like this, so I wait to go to the start. So don't put a video like here, right? So this is dead space, okay? So make sure you go zoom out, you grab it, push it to the end. Is it to the end? No, there's still some gap. That's because the playhead is snapping. So move the playhead somewhere else. Grab it, push it to the end. Boom. Boom. Let's see now if it's to the end. Boom, yes, there's no gaps. That's the start. 0, 0, that's the start. And now here 3 seconds, 18 frames, 9 seconds, 14 frames. And here, that's 2 minutes, 52 seconds, 16 frames, and so on and so forth. So you understand how much. So here is 9 hours, 11 minutes, 38 seconds, 6 frames. Okay, so you must understand these principles. So as we put it at 23.976 frames per second, you will only see. So let's go back to the start. You will only see 23.9 frames for 1 second, okay? So 23.9, boom, more than 23 is 24, that's 1 second, okay? So you see here, it's gonna be 22, 23, 2 seconds, okay? So it's always 23 frames per second, okay? And, okay, so now, first thing I want you to do, now you know how to navigate and view everything. First thing I want you to do now is to click on the clip and create a new compound clip, okay? Here. So right click, create new compound clip, and I'm gonna rename it Crystal Comp. Make sure you write comp, right? crystal comp. All right. Now what I want you to do is drag it upwards. You're gonna grab part 1, so human right law part 1, and there's the part 2 because in this case you made a mistake. So part 1 and part 2. As you can see, the crystal is above, and this is in red, and this is in red. So meaning these two clips are connected. If I click on this one, this highlights. If I click on this one, this highlight. These both two highlights. So they're connected. This is the track of crystal. So right here. So right here, this is crystal's track. And if I am going to disable these both, right here, this is the PowerPoint track. Okay, so this is a sound of the PowerPoint. This is a sound of crystal. Okay, if you want to increase the sound of something, you're gonna zoom out. If you want to increase the sound of something, you can. So you see this little white line. If you drag this up, it makes the sound, it makes it much louder. So if you're gonna listen to that, and I'm gonna mute this is mute. Or instead of muting this track, I'm gonna solo this. So that means I'm gonna hear everything that's on here, this row, and I'm not gonna hear anything else, just here. I'm gonna solo this track, and you can hear,
pause.
Everything is much louder. So if you wanna hear what you're doing, you can do this. This helps also to, I'm gonna zoom in. So if you don't see the gap, so I'm gonna bring it back down to 0. Actually, open the inspector and double click on volume. Boom, that's gonna reset the volume. So if I'm going too quick, I'm not used to teaching DaVinci. So you can see like, oh, there's something here, but I can barely see it. You want to be able to see visually better the track, so you bring this up. That's going to make it much louder. So that's going to make it 17.676 dBs louder, which is much louder. That's not good, but it's a good way of being able to view what you're doing. So here you can see that's 2 bangs. So if you want to remove this, or you can identify what's going on here. So you can see, oh, this is silent, and this is sound. Okay, so that's helpful. If you want to reset it, you open the inspector, you double click on volume, you go on audio, double click on volume, boom, and now you can this back to normal sound. So as you can see, crystal has been moved, is not at the start, so it doesn't start here. You grab it, put it at the start. So now if I want to be able to go inside crystal, make sure this is turned on, stacked timelines, and make sure these two are on and this is off. Okay, so make sure it's like this. I wanna now see the waveforms better. So I'm gonna hold shift and I'm gonna scroll down, and I can't see them anymore, or I can scroll up and I can see the waveforms much better. And I can increase them and I can see even more, okay? So that's helpful because look, if I wanna go here and I wanna zoom in, and I can see here, you made I activated the clip. Here you made a small pause.
Today we're diving the legal framework that protects individuals.
Wait, so this is the wrong one. It's this one actually. So it's not that one, it's this one. Okay, yeah, this one. So this is a crystal track, okay? Make sure you're on the right one. So this was a PowerPoint one, this is a crystal track. If you can't see, you can slide this and you can see it better. If you prefer, sorry for moving off track. If you prefer, and you can put primary display, yes. Video clean feed, monitor 2, boom. So that's better. So now here, I can really see what I'm doing. And now you can see in full screen crystal. So, okay, I should have started with that. So, everything is down here. I can grab this, bring it up. I can see much better. I can pull this down, boom, okay. All right, this is gonna be slow at the start, but you're gonna get used to everything Yeah. I'm trying to do as slow as possible for you to understand. So first of all, what I'm gonna do again. So we did crystal into. So if you want to be able to see more of these things, so you can like make them shrink them just enough. So here you can't see what it is. So you're gonna make it a bit bigger. Boom. And now I can see crystal, and I can see this is PowerPoint. So that's good enough. Maybe the soundtracks are too big. So you can make them smaller, okay? Maybe you want to only see the soundtrack, so you bring this up, bring this back down. You can increase it. Give yourself some. So now as you got double screen. So I would recommend you to bring everything up, and now you have a nice, comfortable view of everything, because you can look at the screen above your head, and you can see what the result is like.
Right.
And if you skim scroll everything, the screen on top works perfectly, as you can see on my iPhone. And so now what I want you to do now, as we did crystal and we turned it into a comp, I want you to do the same thing with the human rights. New comp, and I want to name it PowerPoint Part 1 Comp. Okay, I'm gonna Control and copy, boom, create. And afterwards, what I want you to do is Human Rights Law Part 2. And I want you to create that into a new comp, boom. PowerPoint Part 2. So Part 2, make sure here it says Part 2, so Part 2 comp. All right, so you see here it's getting a bit disorganized now. You don't know what is what. You don't know what is footage and stuff. So we actually got it all into the wrong folder. So we got to go back into this part and bring everything from footage that is not footage into outside of footage. So we're going to grab timeline, bring into master. We're going to grab comp part 2 comp, bring into master. We're going to grab part 1 comp, bring into master. We're going to grab crystal comp, bring into master. If you want, we can highlight everything and bring them into master all at once. Now this is the footage masters. Now we got the footage here folder, so you can click inside. This is a footage. Go back into masters, and now here this is timeline. So we're gonna create a new folder, so new bin for new folder, and we're gonna call it compositions. So comps. So now we're going to grab crystal comp, part 1 comp, part 2 comp, and we're going to put it in there. So why do this? To explain to you. So crystal here, so this, if I go inside this, if I want to go inside this, I open in timeline, boom, I got into it's like a folder holding the raw video. So this is a raw video. This is crystal 11 c1 .mp4. I go back, and that's crystal comp. So that comp holds the raw video of crystal, and this is helpful for non-destructive workflows, and you'll see why later. So what I want you to first do now is, so now that we're very organized here, so you can also grab your scroll wheel and click the scroll wheel and hold the timeline, and you can scroll like this, okay? I also use this a lot. Or you can use control to move around. You can hold the scroll wheel and move around like this. This is much more useful actually. I don't know why I didn't mention it before. Maybe because I haven't been on Windows so often recently, for the past months. And yeah, so what I want you to do now is to solo the crystal audio. So you don't understand what audio, video 1, video 2, audio 1, audio 2. So we're gonna name it. So this is crystal comp. So we're gonna name this crystal. This is crystal track. Boom, crystal, okay? This is PowerPoint. Boom. We're gonna name this crystal, but you can see this is crystal, and this is PowerPoint. Okay, so perfect. Yeah, let's put this capital P. Okay, whatever. Yeah, your name too. Okay, so now what I'm gonna first do, I'm gonna find a key word that you're gonna say.
Hi.
So you said hi, and I'm gonna find that hi here. So I'm gonna solo this clip in PowerPoint. I'm gonna find hi, and I'm gonna put in L2. So if you press L, you're gonna see here is a small symbol. It's gonna say times 2. So I'm gonna press spacebar and L, and boom, times 2. If I press L again, it's times 4. If I press L again, it's times 8. That's too fast. Okay, so I'm gonna spacebar L, and I'm gonna do times 4. If you press J, that's gonna go backwards and got backwards. Okay, times 2 and times 4 backwards. If I press L, it can play the video. Press L again, times 2. If I press K, it's gonna pause the video. So these are things if L is gonna be useful. So you're gonna go into times 2 a lot. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna press L. Are you ready?
Is my lipstick?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to put lipstick on.
Alright, so I'm gonna disable this so you don't get confused. This is a PowerPoint track. We're focusing on is a PowerPoint track. So you see here PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint track. I'm searching for a hi. So right here to remind you, right here I'm gonna solo this clip and unsolo that. Right here you said, and I'm gonna zoom in more so you can see.
Hi.
So I'm looking for that, okay? I'm looking for a hi, okay? Unsolo that and solo PowerPoint, and now we're gonna look for a hi. So you can see there's no sound here, so there's no point of view watching this area. There's no point for you to see this. Now this is something right here. Maybe you said hi here. No, you didn't do anything there. Maybe this, let's see the volumes. So 0 and 0, yeah, so everything's fine. All right, let's keep on going. No hi there. Is this a hi? Let's see this. You see, I'm not wasting time, so I'm clicking and I'm playing.
Can we see my trousers?
Boom, so you didn't say it there. Maybe I see this as a big gap right here. And this looks very similar to here. This is a big, big gap. So big gap and big gap. Big gap, big gap. Oh, so that's not a hi, no.
Hi.
Oh, so then here is a hi. Here is a hi, okay? Wait, let me... Alright, so here you said hi. So I'm gonna press Q, okay? So I'm gonna go before the clip, before, not after. I'm gonna go before the hi. I'm gonna press Q, okay? Q, boom. Alright, what did it do there? It erased everything that happened before that. I'm gonna grab that clip and bring it at the start. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna zoom in. And I see this is the hi when you said hi in the crystal track. I'm gonna align them both. So I'm gonna zoom in even more. And I see this is sharper. This is sharper than you saying hi. So actually, I wanna use this as an example. So I wanna use this. Actually, this doesn't look too sharp. Does this look sharper? Ooh, this looks pretty sharp as well. Actually, this is much sharper. This is a big, big spike. So I'm gonna use this right here. So I'm gonna bring the, I'm gonna align them, and I'm gonna put this red playhead on top of this. So you can see here, this is pretty much aligned, okay? So this audio track is pretty much aligned with this. These ones are pretty much aligned. I can't move more than, all right, see here, pretty much aligned, so they're pretty identical now. I can grab this and I can double click volume, so now it's back to 0. So now you see the spikes here I made to be able to see better. So here I did it to be able to see better, boom. I can see the audio, the waveforms are identical, so boom, that's stacked. Now I can bring it back to 0, make sure that it's back to 0 as well. And now let's go backwards. Zoom out, so you can zoom fully out, and you can zoom in again from here, boom. And okay, so you can see here there's a big gap. This, what you're gonna do here, you're not gonna grab it and slide it. That you don't want to do, because that's gonna disalign the audio. What you want to do is everything is nicely aligned. As you can see here, everything is nicely aligned. Boom. We're gonna grab this. This one right here, and we're gonna make sure you see this icon, not on the top, this one, okay? Inside, so not outside, not middle, inside, okay? Inside, you're gonna make it go until the very end, until there's no more gaps, okay? And now that means that if I wanna show you, that means that both of them are perfectly aligned in terms of volume. So in terms of volume, both of them are perfect.
Video number 11. And is we're recording?
Yeah.
Sound test.
Hi.
Perfect. Okay. So now what we wanted to do, we want to make, when I select this, I want to be able to select this. I want to be able to select this. What I will do now, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute this PowerPoint. All right. And yeah, I'm gonna mute it. Actually, I'm gonna delete it now. Yeah, I'm gonna mute the PowerPoint audio. I'm gonna only listen to Christelle. Okay, as you can see, everything is pretty much aligned. So the voices are pretty much aligned and stuff.
Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're diving.
So now we're gonna start editing the video, okay? So now what we want you to have a good start.
Hello.
We don't want you to start the video like this.
Hello everyone.
That's too soon. So what we're going to do, we're going to start from further back, even though I can hear my voice here. And even though here I bang the door. Doesn't matter. Keep that in. I will remove that myself if needed, because I can do some things with sound. I like that you are like this. I want some margin, okay? So I'm going to go here. I'm going to select everything first and go into link clips. Boom. That means now if I grab this and I slide it, everything is going to be linked. Everything is going to be affected and you will not unseparate both of these. So to make the computer actually work faster, make sure you disable this track, disable this, so it's going to be less of a hustle for if you want, or actually, I don't know what you would prefer. If you prefer to have the PowerPoint above you, you're gonna right click here and you're gonna move track up. All right, track up, boom. Now the PowerPoint is above you. You're on below the PowerPoint. You see, you see here, this here is a PowerPoint and here is you. You are below the PowerPoint. So we're gonna give ourselves some margin. And we're gonna go here and we're gonna press Q, boom. Press so we're gonna click here, remove this whole, boom, and you backspace, okay? I'm gonna, instead of saying boom, I'm gonna redo that. So here you're gonna press Q, you're gonna click here and you press backspace, boom. So you delete that. And now that's stuck to the start. So now what's happening, all right, so I'm doing that myself to be able to understand what do I want actually. I don't want to see the PowerPoint actually, so let's not see the PowerPoint.
Hello everyone.
Boom, so that's a good amount of time for me to start, so it's 5 seconds margin, okay?
Hello. Today we're diving into international.
So here he said hello everyone. Now to not waste time and listen to all of this crap, you're gonna go here and you're gonna search for a hello everyone again. So maybe here you said hello everyone again. I see a big gap here. So I'm going to go here.
Human rights law serves
All right. This is not a hello everyone. So I'm going to go back here.
at the heart of international.
All right. Perfect. That's not hi everyone. So you did not restart the video. Okay.
Civil and political rights.
Okay.
Civil and.
All right. Now I think I went far enough into the video. I think I went to 4 minutes, 50 seconds into the video. I don't think you would have started a hello everyone or the start of the video, or restarted the video from the start after 4 minutes and 50 seconds of video, but just to make sure.
So if we were to.
All right, perfect. You didn't do that here.
Now after.
Perfect, and boom. All right, so that after we're gonna worry about this afterwards. All right, so actually let's do this now. So we got a PowerPoint part 2. Let's align this too, okay? So let's unmute the PowerPoint track. Let's solo your track first, Christelle track. Let's solo that, and we're gonna go further into the timeline and see here. I'm sure it's not in here because I cannot see any gaps in here. So as there is no gaps in here, this is definitely not inside the PowerPoint. So what I actually want to do, I want to solo the PowerPoint first. First listen to the PowerPoint and what you're going to say.
Slide 7 again.
Slide 7 again, you said?
And what human rights...
Actually, I'm a bit too far, so I'm going to zoom in. No, not zoom in here. Zoom in here, okay.
Slide 7 again.
So you said slide 7 again, and there's a big pause here. So let's say, maybe this, you're saying slide 7 again here. So let's see here. No. Oh, I forgot to unsolo. So unsolo this and solo this.
Okay, slide 7.
You didn't say slide 7 again. So let's go back. Let's search for any gaps that you're saying, potentially saying. Oh, so you can see the end actually here. This is a good part to align. So you can see the end here in audio. It started. So let's align it here like that, okay? That seems pretty good actually. So let's make this sharper and sharper. And let's align, wait, no. Let's align this, okay? Boom, that's pretty good. Let's go into further details. Let's go maximum zoom. Boom, and we're gonna align it like one more, no. All right, so if I didn't go in too much into confusion, so here we synced the clips, okay? To make sure it's synced more. This is not synced, so this is like a frame. There's like a tenth of subframes unsynced, but it doesn't matter. I do this usually in Premiere Pro. There's a method to avoid this, but here not really, doesn't exist. So yeah, problems of DaVinci. So this is synced too. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna see everything. So we're gonna click here, zoom out everything, and I'm gonna highlight everything, and I'm gonna link everything. That means that this oh wait, let's mute everything. So let's solo this track. Here, there's nothing. Here, there's nothing. That means this is the area where you were recording and you were not like, I don't know, like you re-screen recorded or something, or you made a mistake. So this, you can like delete this, but we're gonna go into one by one. So we're gonna first go into here, and we're gonna listen. We're gonna listen to Crystal track, not the PowerPoint track, Crystal track.
Hello everyone and welcome.
Actually, it's a bit too loud, so go back into audio and go back to 0. So let's select everything, audio and 0, okay? That was too loud, so we're gonna put it back to normal.
Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're diving into international human rights law, the legal framework that protects individuals from abuses, particularly by governments, and ensures fundamental freedoms for all. These laws establish a universal standard, ensuring that every person, regardless of
Now, if you want to listen to it faster,
ensuring that every person, regardless of nationality, race,
you press L.
Every person, regardless of nationality, race, gender, or belief, is entitled to basic rights such as freedom of speech, the right to life, and protection from torture. But why is this important?
If you don't want to see this part, you do Control B. You're gonna make a cut. So that's a cut here. Boom, one cut and another cut. So that's just one cut. You didn't do anything to the clip, just cut it. So now, if I want to,
Human rights law serves.
if I want to delete this, let's say I want to delete this, okay? This is a big gap or something. I'm gonna press Q, and that's gonna erase everything that's from this clip. So this is one clip, and this is another clip because I created a cut. I created this. So now, if I want to delete everything that comes before this, I'm gonna press Q. Okay. I'm gonna press Command Z, Control Z to go back. If I want to erase everything that comes afterwards, I'm gonna press W. Boom, and that erases everything that comes afterwards. Okay. You don't want that in this case. You want to press Q, and if you want to bring it, you can either slide it in, or I prefer to do this. It's much better. why you want to do this, why you want to delete this instead of dragging. Because if you accidentally drag and if you accidentally drag and you do this on accident, I don't know, wait, let me see, like that for example on accident, or you drag and you do this. Oh no, you literally erased areas of this clip. You see that? You literally erased all this section. So I can go here and I can erase all that section just by hovering over it, and then you don't want that. You want to keep this and you want to delete that part, and that's it. That's all you need to do. All right? So that's so I'm going to leave this space
it's
here.
Important. Human rights.
Maybe you don't want that. So I'm gonna do let it breathe a bit. So give it a bit of space. Boom. Do a cut, and you can hear your some sounds here. That's your mouse clicking, I bet. Let's check. Yeah, that was your mouse clicking, and this is your mouth preparing to speak. So I'm gonna do Q from here, so I cannot not hear the mouse click. And what I'm gonna do here. All right. So now we can see this.
This is important. Human rights law serves a critical.
Maybe this is a bit too harsh of a transition. So what you want to do, you want to hold control. No wait, hold Alt. Yeah, Alt. Sorry, hold Alt, and you're gonna do Control T. Boom. And you see what happened there? I'm gonna redo that. Control T. Control T. That means it added the transition, and this is a transition. It's gonna make that transition smooth. It's not gonna go from like this amount of dBs to this amount of dBs in one cut. It's gonna do that smoothly across fade. So you want to do that, and only because if you highlight everything, it's gonna do Control T to that, and you don't want to cross dissolve the video. You see on the video, it crosses over the video, and you don't want that. You want only the audio to have the transition, and that's it. Why? Because of the green screen and things like that. Okay, so make sure.
Human rights law serves a critical purpose. It allows individuals to assert their rights against state power. This means that governments cannot act with total impunity. They have legal obligations to respect, protect, and fulfill the rights of their people. If these rights are violated, mechanisms exist at both regional and international levels to hold states accountable.
I heard you made no mistakes here, so that's perfect. I'm gonna give it a bit of space. So, boom, about here. I'm gonna give it a bit of space to breathe, to let you to exhale a bit. And I'm gonna go in here. I hear you breathing in here. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna go after the mouse clicks. I'm gonna press Q. I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna Alt highlight, and you can do this now, or you can just wait. And I mean, like, you can literally just wait. Like if you wanna do that at the end, like if I press this and I press Q and delete this. And if I do here and I press a B and I press Q again and I add transitions, you see like there are three cuts here.
Of international law
you see that it doesn't sound very natural. So what I'm going to do here, I can Alt highlight everything here, the audio track. Or actually, even better, I can do from here, hold Alt, click and drag and highlight everything. And I can now zoom in and I can do Control T. Okay, Control T, boom, and it crossfaded everything.
Of international law are three.
And it created a crossfade, it created a transition. Maybe the crossfade is too harsh, so you can make it shorter, right? Here you can make it a bit shorter too, and that's good enough, all right?
So of international law are three.
A bit too harsh, make it a bit.
International law are three. International law are three.
You see that? It just makes it that much better. So you don't want that, obviously, in this situation, but it's a good thing to understand and be aware of. So here we removed a bit of that gap. There's some space to breathe, but not too much for people to lose focus on the video and interest.
At the heart of international human rights.
Maybe that was a bit too little, so you can go here and you can cut that out. Or you can use this one, and that's gonna stick everything. Boom, that's it. I would rather you to use, I don't know which one, because this one you can make a mistake if you do this, and that's really horrible. You're not gonna recover from that. I would rather you use this thing. I use a lot this, but you're not used to it. So I would use this. Press W here and erase. And you're sure you're not gonna shift. You're not gonna shift anything. You're not gonna destroy. You're not gonna destroy any of the videos like this, right? This is like destroyed now. You see, like you don't want it. You don't want to lose the synchronization.
At the heart of international human rights law are three fundamental principles that define the way human rights operate. First and foremost, human rights are universal. They apply to everyone, everywhere, regardless of nationality, language, or belief. These rights exist simply because a person is human, not because they are granted
Here there's a big gap, and I'm gonna re-listen to that.
belief. These rights exist.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Constitution. Equally important. Equally important.
That's good. That's good. Let people time to think.
So, as philosopher Hannah Arendt put it,
That's good. There's no.
so
What I'm doing here, I'm like I'm going into from gap to gap, but because I don't expect you to do mistakes. But let's go back actually, because I could have missed something here. So let's go back.
inalienability by any of human rights. This means that
Wait.
equally important is the inalienability of human rights. This means that they cannot be taken away, not by laws, not by governments, not by any external force. So, as philosopher Hannah Arendt put it, the only true right is the right to have rights. So, even in the most extreme circumstances, such as war or dictatorship,
I think listening into ×2 is too fast to be able to understand your mistakes and to understand fully what's going on.
or dictatorship, human rights remain a fundamental protection. Finally, human rights are indivisible, meaning that no right is more important than the other. Civil and political rights.
I'm making sure you don't repeat yourself. So maybe here you say something and here you repeat yourself. I don't see the waveforms are very similar. But for example, here, I thought that this area right here is very similar to this area right here. So I thought that here you made a mistake and that here you repeated yourself. But actually no, but the shape of the waveform is similar. I can look at these ones if I prefer to, but these ones are a bit better size, so it's easier for me to understand. If you prefer to have only this one big, you can make this one smaller and you can use this, or vice versa, right? So yeah, or you can use a shift to do everything at once. Okay, I'm gonna keep it like this. I'm gonna bring this up a bit.
Most extreme circumstances, such as
All right, I'm gonna go back to where I was.
and then the other. Civil and political rights are just as essential as economic, social, and cultural rights. Together, they.
All right, good. I can hear you. I'm gonna go to the back, and instead of listening to all this, I'm gonna go to the little gaps here.
Ensuring a comprehensive framework for them. Now,
I'm actually scared to miss out on something, so actually I wouldn't recommend you to do this.
Now, to fully understand human rights, it is important.
Oh, you see what I'm expecting here? A big gap. So maybe this is wrong. So I'm gonna listen to what you're saying here.
Now, to fully understand human rights.
So to fully understand human rights.
Rights. Pause.
You said pause.
Continue.
You said continue.
Civil and political rights, often called negative rights.
Oh, so you didn't do any mistakes here.
Okay, continue.
All right, so I'm gonna go after the click of the mouse, and I'm gonna do Command B, and I'm gonna go here, and instead of pressing Q because I don't want to delete this, I want to delete what comes after the playhead. So this area right here, I'm gonna do W. I'm gonna give it a bit of space to breathe. I'm gonna do it here, like just in case. All right, and I'm gonna delete this. Oh, but there's not enough space to breathe.
Civil rights.
There's not enough space to breathe. What do? Do I need to go back? No, I press this. I go here, I make sure it's not like this, but like this, not like this, definitely not like this, okay? Make sure it's like this, okay? All right, slide it a bit more, boom, like that. Now there's a bit more space for you to breathe and have a pause.
And cultural rights. Civil and political rights of
Perfect, see that?
and cultural rights. Civil and political rights, often called negative.
All right, I see a big gap here. I don't want to waste my time and listen to all this. I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to see if you made a mistake.
Privacy.
I see that was not concluded, so that's probably a mistake.
Redo again.
So you said redo again.
Redo.
What are you going to say here?
Civil and political rights.
Civil and political rights. I'm going to do Command B. Let's start that. And I'm going to see.
Civil and political
Perfect. So this section, you got to delete. Boom. And boom. And that's right. Okay, let's listen to this.
cultural rights. Civil and political rights.
Perfect. That's a good enough pause. We're going to put the transition at the end if you want. Or you can do it now. Alt, highlight, Command T, boom. And you can do it maybe like this. Not too big. Boom.
Cultural rights. Civil and political rights.
Perfect. Okay, let's move on.
Often called negative rights, focus on freedom from government interference. These include the right to the right
Perfect.
to enter
Perfect. Let's go here.
freedoms. Now, in contrast, economic dignity.
That's not a mistake. That's good. Maybe this gap is good. This gap is good enough, but this is a bit too much, I think. I'm gonna do like here, Command B. I'm gonna do here and a W, erase. Boom.
Dignity.
I'm gonna Alt, highlight, Control T, transition. I'm gonna make it a bit narrower, it's a bit thick, like that.
Dignity. These rights require active government interventions such as education, healthcare, fair wages, healthcare.
That's good enough. Let's leave the pauses. Not too many cuts because to make your motion more natural.
Fair wages, and adequate housing. Unlike negative rights, which
Right. Did you make a mistake here?
Now,
No, you did not make a mistake here. Let's remove this pause. It's a bit long. It's a bit long. Let's give it time to breathe, but not too much, right?
actions.
So you see the size of this is a bit approximately the same size as this, and I think that's good.
Actions. Now that we understand,
Let's see if this doesn't affect the PowerPoint. So let's look at the PowerPoint.
now tool protections. Now
Let's see if before it was better.
actions.
All right, so you added no transition, so we don't care. So we're gonna do that again. All right, go back, and boom here, and remove this. Boom. Let's remove the PowerPoint again.
Actions. Now that
You see the movement? You're twitching there, right? So you see this. Look at yourself. Boom. You twitch, right? You see that you teleport. You don't want that. So avoid cutting when not necessary. Cut when necessary because that's gonna make it more natural. Especially if you're so close to the camera. Let's not make it obvious you're making mistakes.
law.
All right, so you made a mistake. You might have made a mistake here. I'm just preparing for later, so I don't want it longer than this. I'm gonna make a cut here. Let's listen what you gotta say here.
Back.
Oh, back.
Okay, continuation.
See, this is the dialogue. These are the waveforms I expect when you're gonna say things which are not good, right? This is not gonna be part of the video. So I know this is gonna be a mistake. I knew that. That's why I made that cut before. Let's see what you're gonna say here.
So if we were
Let's see what you said here, actually.
continuation.
What?
Continuation. Okay, continuation.
You said continuation. What are you gonna say here? Let's do a Q here, right? Let's erase that.
Law. So if we were to look let's see if back just 2 centuries, we would.
let's see if you say that again.
Now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and the key historical moments that shaped international human rights law.
So you did not make a mistake. There was nothing to erase or replace here. You only said no, stop and continue, but you did not make an actual you didn't have to repeat a section. So let's leave it like that. That's good.
So if we were to look.
If you want more help, you can look at the PowerPoint and see if that's the same PowerPoint as the previous one. In this case, it doesn't really help because you're saying the same thing before and after. So let's remove that actually and disable that. All right, so let's continue from here.
Today did not exist. They were no universal.
Oh, you made a mistake. So there were no universal. Let's do a B here.
Redo sentence now.
Redo sentence.
There were no.
So let's go here. Let's cut a bit on your breathing. Let's go here and cut that. Let's zoom in a bit because we can't see too much. I can see this is identical to this. You see the waveform. So this is identical to the shape of this. So let's go from here.
Exist.
And let's go from not here. Let's not cut in between you talking. Let's go in fully silent. So here is fully silent. You can see there's nothing here. So let's do W. Let's cut out and let's see what's happening.
Not exist. There were no universal.
Let's highlight. Let's do Command T. Do that whilst you're editing. It's gonna help. And you see, you don't want this to overlap. This is a bit too long. This is like.
Did not exist. There were no universal.
You can hear echo, and you don't want that. What you want here is to only isolate the transition. So make it like until here, right? So don't go inside of this. Just make it a bit shorter, okay?
Not exist. There were no.
Perfect. You see, you can hear your breathing in from here, and here you can hear your exiting from here. So it's perfect alignment of vocal cords.
Exist. There were no
Perfect.
universal protections, no legal safeguards, just raw power determining people's freedoms. The journey to modern human rights.
I was pausing there to expect if there was going to be a mistake. I didn't expect a mistake, so I did not do a cut. So I'm going to continue.
Journey to modern human rights has been long and hard fought, shaped by major historical points. Now, one of the earliest
Maybe here you were a bit quirky. Can we improve this?
hard fought, shaped by major historical
No, you can't.
points. Now, one of the earliest milestones, the UK trade. Slave trade. The UK Slave Trade Act of 1807 was a groundbreaking law that abolished.
So we can avoid all this. We can go here.
Now, around the same time, states began recognizing the duty to protect foreigners.
See, that's why the importance of you saying actually stop, pause and stuff, because I can see it in the waveforms. I can see you saying things in a weird way. I can see weird waveforms. So here it is not weird. I did not expect you to make a mistake, even though there's a pause, because I knew if you say wait, stop, it's gonna look weird. It's gonna look like one waveform in the middle of nowhere, and that looks very suspicious. And obviously you're not gonna be reading that from a script. So I know that I can. Oh, that's a mistake. So I can make a correction in that case.
Now, around the same time, states began identity. Now, after World War I, the world witnessed unprecedented destruction and suffering.
All right, after World War One.
Now.
All right, so I know you're gonna say a mistake here, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna expand it a bit. Go after the pause. Redo. See that? I guessed it right.
Now, after World War
One. So I'm gonna do here. I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to also erase here.
Now after.
I'm going to go here, and I'm gonna do W. I'm going to go here, click, move that space. Okay, let's go a bit back here. Boom. Let's highlight this, and let's do Command T. Perfect. I think that transition is pretty good.
Now after identity. Now, after World War I, the world witnessed unprecedented destruction and suffering, prompting the creation of the League of Nations in 1920. This was the first international organization designed to prevent future wars and promote global cooperation. Now, it also played a role in protecting ethnic and religious minorities and led to the formation of the International Labour Organization, which fought for better working conditions and labour rights worldwide. Now,
So you might not want the transition here, so let's see it like this. Remove a bit of that space right here.
Wide. Now, while the league.
Boom. You know, keep retention, so you might want to remove this if you want to, if you feel like it.
Now, While
Maybe you don't want that teleport. So look here, look at the big screen.
now,
Boom, you teleport. You see your arms, look at your arms.
now,
You might not want that, but you might want to keep more retention, but maybe that pause is necessary for people to process your information. Try and get a feeling of it.
while human rights system. The true turning point came after World War II, when the world was forced to committed during the war.
All right.
In response, the international community.
All right. Keep it natural here. I would let the pause because maybe you don't want to have that twitch
In response-
motion, but I don't know. It's something we gotta see how it feels.
In response. Now, although not legally binding, the
All right, I know you made a mistake up from here, so I'm gonna remove this. Command B here, Control B,
redo sentence.
redo sentence now.
Now,
Yeah, you see that I guessed it right. So you're gonna do Q, erase, go back, and listen again.
history.
Let's just do Command Alt, add an audio transition. So Alt highlight, Command T, and drag it inside, and don't let it overlap with any big chunks of audio. You don't want that.
Now,
Perfect transition.
although not legally binding, the Declaration became the blueprint for future treaties and legal frameworks shaping the modern human rights system that exists today.
Perfect.
So now, as we move forward, we'll explore how these principles are applied across different. So now, as we move forward,
Okay, you might want to remove the now if you want to listen how that sounds. Let's do it ourselves. So we're gonna do we're gonna go here, Command B, and we're going to Q and do, and we're gonna highlight Command T, and we're gonna create a small transition like that. You see, not too much like that.
so as we move forward,
All right.
so as we move forward,
Maybe that's better, right?
So as we move forward, we'll explore how these principles are applied across different regions.
Let's make it a bit bigger. Let's see the difference.
So as we move forward,
No, that's not good. You can hear the echo. You can hear yourself talking behind yourself. It's weird. So like that.
So as we move forward, we'll explore how these principles are applied across different regions and how international human rights systems work to turn these protections into.
Okay, perfect. You might want to have that gap of so we're gonna here is probably where you've realized your big mistake. Yeah, this is where you realize your big mistake. So there's no need to listen further, right? There's no audio track here, so no need to listen.
Alex, wait, pause.
Okay, I don't need that. I can literally see this immense silence here. So I can tell, like, look, something went wrong here, right? So I'm gonna go Command B, so make a, right? So everything before that I don't need to affect it. Everything after that we might need to. And let's go to the next part. So I don't see any PowerPoint here. Let's continue. If you want to zoom out and see it better. All right, let's go here and zoom in. And let's start from
Slide 7 again.
all right, let's go from here, Q, and let's delete that, and that's it.
Protections into enforceable legal obligations. Slide 7 again.
This is not enough time to breathe. I want a bit more time. And let's go here.
So now that we understand what human rights are and how they are.
Made a mistake?
Redo.
You're gonna redo it, I know.
Right, now that we understand.
Let's see here if you made a mistake.
Now, if we look back just 2 centuries, right, now that we understand what human rights. Right, now.
All right, this is a good idea to turn on the slides here because maybe I don't understand what's going on because I didn't listen to what you're saying because I'm doing the tutorial for you. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna look at this slide and I'm gonna see if I can find it elsewhere. So is this slide appearing somewhere else? I'm gonna go really far back. So here, I'm gonna remove this magnet tool so I can.
Early acknowledged. these the legal frameworks to turn these
All right, I know the problem was this slide, I think. Oh, okay.
economic
All right, I see this slide, and this slide is similar. So I know it's gonna be here, okay? So I identified the where the issue was. Let's listen it from here.
at the heart of international human rights
All right.
law are three fundamental principles that define the way.
Wait, let's listen to more. Let's listen to what you had to say here.
Right, now that we understand what human rights are and how they
Sorry, I just wanna make sure. I don't know why that is much louder than. I don't know why this waveform is so much bigger than this one. It's literally the same screen record, right? So it's just weird. Why is it like that? Fuck. Alright, whatever.
Right, now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and the key historical moments that shaped international human rights law. Now, if we look back just 2 centuries, we would find a world where human rights as we know them today did not exist. There were no universal protections, no legal safeguards.
Now, if we look back 2 centuries, I remember that phrase, we gotta find it somewhere. So,
At the heart of international human rights law are three fundamental principles that define the way human rights operate. First and foremost, human rights are universal. They apply to everyone, everywhere, regardless of nationality, language, or belief. These equally important is the inalienability of human rights. This means that they cannot be taken away, not by laws, not by governments, not by any external force. So as philosopher Hannah Arendt put it, the only true right is the right to have rights. So even in the most extreme circumstances, such as war or dictatorship, human rights remain a fundamental protection. Now, liberty and freedom. Now, to fully understand human rights, it is important to distinguish between civil and political rights and economic, social, and cultural rights.
we gotta go back 2,000 centuries or something like that, you
Civil
said.
and political rights, often called negative rights, focus on freedom from government interference. These include the right to free speech, the right to a fair trial, the right to privacy, and freedom of culture. In contrast, economic and social and cultural rights, those rights require active government intervention to ensure access to essential services such as education, healthcare. Now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and the key historical moments that shaped international human rights law. So if we were to look back just 2 centuries, we would find a world where human rights as we know them today did not exist. There were no universal protections, no legal safeguards.
So if we go back 2,000 centuries, it's from here, okay? So you went from. Nah, don't tell me. What? That makes no sense. That literally makes no sense.
So if we were to look back just 2 centuries, we would find a world.
If we look back 2 centuries, So if you don't want to forget this, press M and you create a mark, okay? So you don't forget it, okay? And I'm gonna go back to here.
Right, now that we understand what human rights are and how they take. Now, if we look back just 2 centuries.
What? That makes no sense. So.
Right, now that we understand what human rights are and how.
Now we understand what human rights are. Let's go back to the M here, and let's find for that phrase.
Now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and the key historical moments that shaped international human rights law. So if we were to look back...
Yeah, I just want to make sure your PowerPoint is correct here. Alright. So this is what you were meant to do, but I see it's gonna duplicate the PowerPoint here.
That shaped international.
What? That's just weird.
Let's
Let's go forwards a bit.
The Enlightenment.
I just want to understand that because your PowerPoint is weird. Alright. I don't see that black area of. No, I don't see that. The video is not there. Alright, perfect. Okay, I got it. Alright, so let's go here. I found the problem.
Human rights law. So if we were to look back just 2 centuries, we would find a
So if we were to look back 2,000 centuries, da, 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 da. All right, so let's go back here and let's move forwards from here. Unfortunately, all that good dialogue, we gotta erase it and we gotta continue from here.
human rights law. Right, now that we understand what human rights are,
Let's double check. I just want to make sure because I removed a big chunk there. So
if we were to look back just 2 centuries, we would find a world where human rights as we know them today did not exist.
all right.
Right, now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and
No.
the key historical moments that shaped international human rights law.
That's not the same.
That shaped international human rights law. Key historic how they take different forms. Now that we
Oh wait, let's go from here actually. Let's put an M there and delete that one. Let's delete that.
require governments. Now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and the key historical moments that shaped international human rights law. Right, now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and the key historical moments that shaped international human rights law.
That's exactly it. So let's remove this. And let's recover from there, and let's continue
Require
from there.
governments to take action to guarantee these fundamental protections. Right,
Okay, let's watch your body language.
fundamental protections. Right, now that we understand protections.
Oh shit! You see the laptop there? You moved it. So here is there, and here is here, and that's annoying because I'm gonna have to do that in the mask, and I'm gonna have to figure it out. Fuck, okay, whatever.
Right, now that we understand what human rights are and how they take different forms, let's explore how these rights evolved over time and the key historical moment.
Perfect. Let's
Now, if we
just
look back
continue.
just 2 centuries, we would
Let's find for
the journey from modern
mistakes.
human rights has been long and hard fought, shaped by major historical turning points. Now,
Let's find for mistakes. So let's I think I've learned your flow, and I know when you make big pauses, that's when you make a
Worldwide.
mistake.
Now, while the League
I don't see any mistakes
were
here.
in the war,
You see, everything is very constant. All the here you made a mistake. Look,
now as we move forward, right, redo.
you see that? You made a mistake. I told you. Never get it wrong. So let's go from Command B, Control B. Sorry,
Now, as we move forward,
is that same as here?
now as we move forward,
All right, perfect. Let's go and give it some air to breathe at the same time. Let's do that. Let's check. All right, perfect. All right, I'm just checking that's I clicked the right button.
that exists today. Now,
Perfect. Alt click and Command T and make sure it's inside. Let's zoom in a bit. All right,
now as we move forward,
perfect. Let's find another mistake. I think here you made a mistake.
now human rights are universal, but the way they are enforced varies depending on the region. While the United Nations provides a global framework,
See, if you want to make if you make a mistake, just have a long pause of silence and then tell me weird things that I can tell from the waveform. Look, this is a mistake.
now these systems provide legal mechanisms for infrastructure.
Wait, did you repeat that?
These systems provide
Now these systems provide.
now human rights,
No.
while the United Nations
See that I'm checking like the start of this because after a long pause, the start of this is it similar to the start of this, or the start of this,
way they
or the start of this? Like I just want to make sure if I didn't quite listen.
Europe has one of the strongest and most effective human rights systems in the world, thanks to the European Convention on Human Rights that has been signed.
All right, no mistakes here. Let's see. Or maybe here.
Now, one landmark case, as we see in the PowerPoint, that reintroduced the importance of this system was
You might have made a mistake there.
redo sentence. In this case,
Okay, so after the click, Command B in this case. That looks similar to this one, so I think it's this.
in this case,
Perfect, I got it right. So W, click, Alt, highlight, Command T, zoom in, and slide it in. Don't cover too much of the waveform. Boom, that's good.
2015. In this case, 2 young men in police
Perfect.
custody.
I think that's good. Let's continue. There's no mistakes here. Here, there's a mistake.
Redo sentence.
What are you gonna say?
Now, this case demonstrates.
Let's zoom in. All right, so let's Command B.
Now, this case demonstrates.
Now this case demonstrates probably this.
Now, this case demonstrates that.
Yes. Okay. So W, click.
Now,
Bit of too much pause, I think. Maybe let's go.
human rights law. Now, this case.
Perfect, I think. And let's do this. Let's get a bit of a transition here inside. I don't want it too small because that's not gonna impact the transition at all. You know, you want it to have a bit like let's say 10 frames, something like that. 0.2, 10 frames.
Now,
You see the 10 there. So this is 2 frames, and this is around 12 frames. Let's remove the playhead so it doesn't stick to it. 10 frames, okay.
now this case demonstrated
Perfect.
the strict protections
I do this really quickly. I'm just trying to explain.
mistreatment in the European system, no matter how minor.
Okay, I see a big mistake here. Command D.
The next regional system.
All right, no mistake. Command Z.
Workers. Redo.
Redo the next.
Now, the next.
Yeah, I was right. So Command Shift Z is to redo what you undid.
And issuing recommendation.
By the way, if the sound doesn't work, and you don't know how to access settings, you're putting the mouse to the very bottom and it's not working, which I don't know why it's not working. So what I would do, I would minimize the window, then I would go down, I would go to settings, and in settings, come on, all right. Jesus Christ. All right, and in settings, you go to system, you go to sound, and you go to haut-parleur, and you make sure that one is on, you make sure that one is selected, okay? Sometimes they're different ones. I hope you don't have this problem yourself, but you know, this is one problem I just had. So if you know, this is how you go and change sound. It's very intuitive.
Issuing recommendations. Now, the African other hand for it.
Okay.
Now, one of the most significant cases in 14. A Rwandan politician spreading genocide ideology. The African court ruled that Rwanda had violated. However, instead of complying,
You see, I'm skim going. You shouldn't do that. I don't think you should do that. But like, I can do it because I can really tell. Like, look, there's no mistakes here. This is very consistent. There is no pauses. I can tell. Like, look, there's no mistakes. Maybe here this looks a bit suspicious, like having a waveform in the middle of nowhere. Like there's a bit of a gap here, and then there's a big gap here, and that's a bit weird. So
state non-compliance.
And okay, let's just verify this gap over here.
The state. Now this case highlights one of the big.
That was just a very long pause. Let's see this pause. So it starts at 15 and it ends at 21. That's way too long. I'm gonna remove a big chunk. So about there and there. I think I removed. Yeah. Now let's see. Now it's 15 to 17. So about 2 seconds pause. That's good.
Now just
redo. Code Alt. Highlight. Only the audio tracks, and Control T. I don't think you need to slide it in. It's pretty good like how it is.
Chinese challenge own government.
Okay.
Redo sentence. Despite these
challenges, let's see this.
Now, despite these challenges.
All right, we're gonna delete that then. All right, starting from here. Let's give it a bit of headroom. Okay, boom, like that. Alt, highlight, Control T.
Non-compliance. Despite these challenges, regional human rights violate their rights. The African Commission
L to go
provides
faster.
a platform for individuals and organizations to report violations, while the African Court has the power to issue binding rulings against governments. Similarly, the European and Inter-American human rights system provide additional layers of protection, ensuring that governments cannot violate human rights without facing consequences. These regional systems push and local enforcement. However, human rights protection is not just a regional issue.
So I see there's a mistake there. I'm gonna go and control. No, I'm gonna go here.
Sentence. However,
So however, I thought you would do that. So here, however was here.
however,
Perfect. We located it. So that's the part. You can do W. Bring it here. Delete this. So if I know I'm forgetting to re-describe my shortcuts, but I did explain them at the very start of the video.
local
Yesterday.
enforcement. However, human rights
I think
protection.
that was pretty good. Oh, here I made a mistake.
However,
Alright, so you repeated that again, so I'm going to delete that. Oh, you see what I did there? Accidentally highlighted everything. So you do Control Z to go back. You click anywhere else, which is not the tracks, right? So you click anywhere else. You click Q. You click on the gap. You delete. And you go back with the playhead and you re-listen. Actually, highlight Alt, Control T, re-listen.
and local enforcement. However, human rights protection is not just a regional issue. It is also
I don't like your hand gesture here, right? So I don't want it when you go up. So I want it before that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it see this icon on the mouse, and I can slide it in until I don't see your hand gesture. So you see this is much more fluid for your hands. You see you go from this frame to this frame is less choppy.
However, human rights protection is not
Change back to the normal one. Don't go to trim edit mode to selection mode. Go back to selection mode.
just a regional issue, it's obligations. Now in the next the United Nations
What?
when monitors and enforces resources human rights worldwide.
Why did I say what? Because this looked suspicious. That was a long pause, and there was a long pause in here, but that's just how it was. Let's check the timing. So 34, 38, 4 seconds to 4 seconds. Let's remove about 2 seconds from that clip around this. That's about half. Oops, I pressed W accidentally. So let's go Control Z. Let's do Q. Click on the space, delete the space, hold Alt, highlight, Control T, boom, continue. This is very repetitive, by the way. Like I'm doing this all the freaking time. So this is gonna become second nature.
The United Nations plays a central role in ensuring them. Now, two of the most important treaties in cultural rights. Now, the ICCPR, the first point is freedom of speech and protection from torture and discrimination. Countries.
Alright, let's check this pause. 23, 25. That's a bit long. I will remove maybe 1 second from it, something like that. Oops. Accidentally, I let the audio track highlighted. Oops. Right, I'm always doing Control Z to go back. Actually, now Control B. Click elsewhere. Slide the playheads a bit more. Click Q. Click on the gap. Delete. Hold Alt. Highlight the audio only. Control T for the audio transition. Go back and re-listen.
Discrimination. Countries that ratify this
That felt very good.
treaty
Like in terms of the pause, felt very fluid.
ensuring these rights for their citizens and are expected to uphold them through domestic laws and policies. Meanwhile, the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, the second point of the slide, focuses on human well-being, recognizing that human rights are not just about freedom from oppression, but also about ensuring basic dignity. Now, this treaty guarantees access to education, fair working conditions, healthcare, and an adequate standard of living among
Mistake over here.
ensuring that human rights are not just civil
right
liberties, but also basic necessities for human survival. Now, to enforce these protections, The UN has built a... Right, pause. Redo sentence. Now...
See that? So I guessed it right. You're gonna go Control B. Now here, Control B. So like this, delete it. Or if you don't want to do like that, you can just press Q. Press here, delete. Different ways of doing it, bring you to the same destination.
Human survival. Now...
Make sure the pause was long enough. So from here was 15 seconds. I'm watching here and this is 16.20, so that's almost 2 seconds more.
Human survival. Now, to enforce
I think that's good, yeah.
these protections, the UN has built a complex system of human rights, treaty-based bodies, which oversee specific human rights treaties, and charter-based bodies, which applies to all UN member states regardless of their treaty commitments. Now, treaty-based bodies are responsible for monitoring compliance with international human rights treaties. When countries ratify a human rights convention, they agree to follow its obligations, and these bodies ensure governments are meeting their commitments. They, in fact, they conduct investigations, review state reports, and issue rulings when violations occur. So one of the most important bodies is the UN Human Rights Committee.
All right, Control B. Oops, accidentally had the audio track selected again. So Control Z, click elsewhere, or not in the track, somewhere else to deselect. Now Control B, and let's go from here. Wait, what did you say here?
Redo the whole thing.
So redo the whole thing, all right? So we're gonna prepare ourselves.
Right, after saying, but also basic necessities for human survival, after saying that, I'm passing to the next slide, which is did this one, and continuing. So continuing through here, to enforce these protections, da da da. So to enforce these protections, the UN has built a...
To enforce these protections, okay? So we're gonna go from here, we're gonna delete this, and now to enforce these protections, let's look at the slides. Do the slides change? All right, so I'm gonna go here, let's hear that.
The United Nations plays a central role in ensuring human rights are respected worldwide. Yes. Now the ICC here...
What I'm seeing, you see here, there's a chunk, there's a gap. A chunk, there's a gap. You see, so like there's frequency here, there's a gap. There's a gap here, there's a gap here, and there's a gap here, and there's a gap here. That means I'm going to listen to the start of every single gap, okay? So here.
Now, two of the most...
And what I'm looking for is this. I'm looking for this.
So to enforce these protections, the UN has built a complex system of human rights mechanisms.
I'm listening to that sentence, and I want to re-find it somewhere where you said it. All right, so let's go from, let's go on forward from here.
They conduct investigations.
So let me say it out loud so I don't forget.
So to enforce these protections, the UN has built
To enforce these protections, the UN has built
commitment. These are...
Wait, let me zoom in a bit so I can see better. All right.
Now, treaty-based bodies are responsible...
Let's put an L to hear faster.
...which oversees specific human rights treaties. Now, to enforce these protections...
Perfect, so we found it. That was here. Now, to enforce these protections, and let's listen to it again.
So, to enforce these protections, the UN has built...
Let's listen in it again, just fully, just to make sure.
To enforce these protections, the UN has built a complex system of human rights mechanisms.
Perfect, all right, let's delete that. Come back here. Hold Alt, highlight only the audio. Control T for transition. Zoom in, make sure it's not overlapping anything. Make sure the gap is not too long, so 15 seconds. And then here we can see it's 17 seconds and a half. This may be too long, so I'm gonna go into trim mode. I'm gonna slide it in forwards. Or what you can do, you can just go here, press W, and that's gonna bring you in there, right? Whilst you're in trim mode. And then you go back to selection mode, okay? Because if you do that in selection mode, what it does is this. Whereas in trim mode, what it does, it brings it forwards. Actually, that would not be too bad to edit like this. I remember I used to edit like this when I was doing my talking head. I don't know why I didn't mention that in this tutorial. Maybe because I don't want you to use this too much because of the destructive this right here, which can destroy the entire like synchronization of your clips. And when you're a beginner, you might not notice you do this just like 5 milliseconds, and that's just like It ruins the whole flow of the video. So you don't want that. Being in selection mode, you're more certain you're not going to move things around as destructively.
Survival. So to enforce these protections,
actually, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use the trim mode for now on, okay? So from now on, I'm going to use the trim mode.
UN has built a complex system of human rights mechanisms. These two mechanisms can be divided into two main categories. Treaty-based bodies, which oversee specific human rights treaties, and charter-based bodies, which apply to all UN member states regardless of their treaty commitments.
All right, let's listen. That's 42 seconds, and this is 44. 2 seconds, that's limit.
Treaty-based bodies are responsible for monitoring compliance with international human rights treaties. So when countries ratify a human rights convention, they agree to follow its obligations, and these bodies ensure governments are meeting their commitments. They, in essence, conduct investigations, review state reports, and issue rulings when violations occur. Now,
see, I allow these pauses because I think 2 seconds is a good number. I think 2 seconds is a good number, yeah, without a doubt.
Now, one of the most important of these bodies is the UN Human Rights Committee, which oversees the EPSs. Now, other key bodies include the Committee on Economic, Social,
what did he
and
say?
Human Rights Practices.
Okay, I think that's a bit too long. 32 and 35. Yeah, let's remove like something. Yeah, let's do this. And I'm gonna say what I do. So here, Control B, and then here, press Q, and it just brings it all
The
together.
Human Rights Practices. Now, other key bodies include.
Remember, I'm in trim mode right now. So in trim mode there's a step less to do, which might be even faster.
The Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, the Committee Against Torture, and the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, which enforce specific human rights treaties.
Okay, let's do Command B. Let's remove this Q, and boom.
These treaty-based bodies play
See, I think that pause was good enough. Don't need to go any
a
longer.
crucial role in monitoring compliance, but they have one major
Actually, let's remove the PowerPoint so I can see you.
treaties. These treaty-based bodies play a crucial role in monitoring compliance, but they have one major limitation. Their decisions rely on voluntary compliance by states. So, in essence, if a country refuses to implement recommendations or ignores rulings, there are often no direct enforcement mechanisms to ensure compliance. Now, unlike the treaty-based bodies that we broader mandate.
Wait, let me check the pauses again. That's good. This looks a bit too long. So 20 seconds, 23 seconds. Let's remove something. So Command B. And actually, I wanna remove this place here. So Command B. And let's remove about this. Okay, B, boom, a bit more. Alt highlight and T. Alt highlight, T. Alt highlight, Control T. Alright.
Now,
So what I did there to go back to where I was, I didn't move the playhead with me. I just moved myself. And if I want to play and I want to go back, I don't want to do this again to go back to it. What I'll do, I'll just play.
now, unlike
And it brings me back. And that's a huge, helps to, not waste time and orientate myself. Like, if I lose myself, I don't know where I was, where am I? Am I to the left? Am I to the right? Alright, just play.
the treaty-based
And boom, I'm back to there. I see there's no more cuts here. I see there are cuts here. I know this is my last cut, so I want to go back to here, zoom in, and you're back to where you were.
bodies that we have just seen, which only applies to countries that have ratified specific treaties. Charter-based bodies, on the other hand, have a broader mandate.
Alright, pause it here. I know you made a mistake.
Repeat, broader mandate. Have a broader mandate.
Have a broader mandate. That is... Alright, so let's now cut and get a bit closer to the audio track. Alright, let's remove this. And now here...
The broader mandate, and have a broader mandate. Have a broad...
Perfect. You know what you did here? You left a gap here. And that's good for us to be able to shift this and make it sound seamless. So we're going to cut it close to this right here. If you press the left arrow, you can move one frame to the left. If you press the right arrow, you can move one frame to the right, okay? So we're going to really stick up there. I'm going to press Q. It's going to bring everything together. We're going to Alt highlight, Control T. and we're gonna bring this together. Give it a bit of headroom like this.
The other hand, have a broader mandate.
That's perfect, sounds seamless.
Bodies, on the other hand, have a broader mandate.
If someone's listening to this in their car or something, they're absolutely not gonna realize there's a cut right there. It sounds so seamless, and that's thanks to the transition and everything we're doing in terms of rhythm and tempo, not bringing everything too close together, not putting things too far together. Obviously right now what I'm doing, I'm skim editing this, but if I had to do this like professionally, even a bit more, I think I would take my time, listen to these gaps more, listen to these smaller gaps. Maybe I want to cut out these gaps and maybe like I could test it out with a video where removing the small gaps is going to improve the dialogue, the rhythm, the speed. People are going to be able to focus more. They're going to enjoy the video more. Or if leaving the gaps as they are from you reading out, if that's too robotic or not robotic, and that's not going to ruin the video for them, I don't know, but like if I really wanted to do a test, I would do a video where I'm really like removing like this gap, right? So
a broader mandate as they apply.
Mandate, so I'm gonna do this, Control B. I'm gonna go Q and boom.
Mandate as they apply to.
All right, I'm gonna apply transition, boom, boom.
Mandate as they apply.
Let's make it a bit wider.
Mandate as they apply to all UN.
Sounds a bit fast. I'm gonna give it a bit of space. I'm just gonna expand this part.
Mandate as they apply to all UN member states, regardless of their treaty commitments.
So maybe that is better.
This, in essence, of their treaty commitment. This, in essence.
That's not enough pause. I'm gonna leave that pause. 38 seconds. 39 seconds, that's 1 second pause, good enough.
This, in essence, makes them more.
This, in essence, I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna press Q here. Boom. I'm gonna Alt highlight, Control T. I'm gonna bring it in. Let's listen.
Makes them. This, in essence, makes them.
All right. So it was weird. All right.
Makes them. This, in essence, makes them more.
All right. Let's.
This, in essence, makes them.
What I did, I was expanding it a bit more because I think it was a bit too tight. So now I've expanded it. Maybe it sounds good now.
This, in essence, makes them more.
Let's give it a bit more pause, just a bit.
This, in essence, makes them.
A bit less. One less.
This, in essence, makes them more.
All right, either way, you made a mistake here. So I'm gonna delete this, cut here, delete this. I guess this in essence.
This, in essence.
Perfect, all right, I got it. So Q, oops. So see what I did? I clicked accidentally, and I'm scared I did this on accident. So what I'll do Control Z to undo what I did, and now redo that, just to make sure, like, look, okay, I didn't click on that, and I didn't shift the clips, so make sure now if you go on selection mode, you can click here, delete that. If you want to select something, try and avoid it doing with the trim tool, do it with the selection tool. I'm saying that because you don't want to ruin and desynchronize your audios. I know I said it a couple of times now, but it's very important to understand that.
This, in essence, makes a more powerful.
This, in essence, makes it more powerful.
Mistake, wait.
Bro, what the fuck are you doing?
Continue, delete that.
Alright.
And one of the most important charter-based.
Alright, I don't want to keep the and. Let's keep it for now and let's see how it sounds. So I'm going to be using the selection tool again now.
Commitments. And one of the most important charter-based mechanisms.
One of the most important charter-based mechanisms. Let's listen to.
As they apply to all UN members. Have a broader charter-based bodies, on the other hand, have a broader mandate as they apply to.
Wait. Let's give it a bit of space so I remember where the last one was.
And one of the most important charter-based mechanisms is the Universal Periodic Review.
I don't think you said that yet. I don't know if you repeated yourself.
Now, unlike the treaty-based bodies that we have just seen, which only applies to countries that have ratified specific treaties,
Charter-based bodies, on the other hand, have a broader mandate as they apply to all UN member states regardless of their treaty commitments.
Wait, let's listen to this section again.
These treaty-based bodies play a crucial role in monitoring compliance, but they have one major limitation. Their decisions rely on voluntary compliance by states. So, in essence, if a country refuses to implement recommendations or ignores rulings, there are often no direct enforcement mechanisms to ensure compliance. Now, unlike the treaty-based bodies that we have just seen,
So that's...
now, the key bodies include the Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, the Committee Against Torture, and the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, which enforce specific human rights treaties.
Alright, I don't think there is any... I think you said continue. I just want to re-expand this to listen what you said here.
And then,
Alright.
this, in essence, makes a more powerful mistake. Wait. Okay, continue. Delete that.
So you said continue. You didn't say repeat. So okay, I'm gonna trust you on that then, and I'm gonna delete this part, and I'm gonna not replace anything because you said continue. Okay.
And one.
Let's make it a bit tighter. Let's try and make this more seamless. Okay. Oops, accidentally selected everything. So you don't want that. Control Z to go back. Alt highlights. Control T. And let's bring them together.
Commitments. And one of their treaty commitments. And one of the most important mistakes, regardless of their treaty commitments. And one of the most important.
That sounds very seamless.
Important charter-based mechanism is the Universal Periodic Review. As every 4.5 years, all UN members.
That was about 45 to 46. That's 1 second. That's good enough.
Huge on their human rights records, regardless of whether they have signed certain treaties. This system ensures that even powerful nations like the US, China, and Russia are scrutinized, preventing selective enforcement and ensuring that all countries face equal levels of accountability.
Okay, so that's big pause right here. I'm gonna remove this.
Accountability. Another key institution is.
So you opened your mouth. I'm gonna wait until like that mouth before it opens. Let's see, this pause is about what, 13 seconds to 14. So that's 1 second.
Accountability. Another key.
All right, let's put the transition. So Alt highlights, Control T for transition. Bring it down.
Accountability. Another key institution is the UN Human Rights Council. Member states. The Council.
Yo, that was a bit too big of a pause right there. I'm gonna remove that.
Mistake.
You can do this. Shit. See what I did there? I held Alt, and instead of clicking here to highlight, I held this and I overrode this and I deleted this chunk. So you don't want that. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. We're back to normal. If you're not sure if you're there yet, Control Z one more time. Just redo this step. Alt, hold somewhere else from here. Highlight this. Control T. Okay. Bring it back. I think that's good. All right, bring it back.
And elected UN member states. The Council conducts investigations, appoints special rapporteurs to monitor specific human rights issues, and holds emergency sessions when major human rights crises arise. However, because it is a political body, its decisions are sometimes influenced by geopolitical interests, raising concerns about inconsistencies in enforcement.
Okay, so that's a big gap right there. Let's remove this a bit. So about here, doesn't matter. I think that's good. That's about, you see, this size of gap is the same as this one, but maybe this is a different PowerPoint. You're changing PowerPoint, I see up here. So you might not want to have the same amount of gap everywhere. We just, I think I affected the volume because I touched this line by accident. So if you don't know if you touched it or not, just go on volume, double click volume, click here, double click volume, click here, double click volume, boom, back to normal, okay?
Enforcement.
Be aware when you destroy things, like I did accidentally, like oops, I got this up, or oops, I did this, or oops, I did that, and oops, I did this, and then I did that. You know, you don't know what you're doing. Make sure you identify you making a problem, and you do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Back to normal. Control Z one more time to make sure. No, don't do it. Alright, boom. Okay, perfect. We're back to normal.
enforcement. Now, beyond this council, there are additional mechanisms that help monitor and investigate human rights violations. In essence, the UN Special Procedures consists of independent expert figures, religious freedom, or migrants' rights. These experts.
That's perfect. That's big gap. Like, look at the pause here. Like, look, 14 seconds to 17. That's 3 seconds too much. So let's chunk it down. And I don't think that sentence sounds good when it's with such a gap. So what I should do, what I did there, why it's turned black, because there's nothing here, right? So here there's video, here there's nothing, and here there's video. So that's why it turned black, okay? Don't get scared. So delete that. Alt, highlight, Control T for transition. Try and not affect the line. Try when you're moving it, try and be below maybe, so you don't accidentally click somewhere else.
Migrants' rights. These experts.
See, that sounded very seamless. Let's listen to that again.
Or migrants' rights.
Alright, so look at this.
Judicial killings, religious freedom, or migrants' rights.
That sounded a bit weird, so I'm gonna try and solve that. So Control B, I'm gonna go in trim mode, and Q.
Or migrant.
Alright, let's try and make this small transition right here. Alright.
Or migrants' rights. Or migrants' rights.
That's perfect. And let's try and do that same here. So boom. Let's try and do this. Alt T, Alt highlight, Control T. Alt highlight and Control T.
Freedom or migrants' killings.
Oh, there's a big pause there too. Let's try and see what it does, okay? So we want to make the best video possible, the best talking head possible. You have time.
Killings, religious freedom, or migrants' rights.
So you see what we sacrifice here. Look at your arms. Look how they teleport.
Killings, religious freedom, or migrants' rights.
That sounds good because it sounds faster. There's less pauses. You're wasting less time when you're viewing the video. But also, is it enough time for you to process what you're saying? And also, is it ruining the visuals? Do you look robotic and choppy now? Because you don't sound it. That's good, I think.
Killings, religious freedom, or migrants' rights. These experts.
I'm gonna leave it like this for now, but I think that's an example, okay?
Report violations, provide recommendations, and help raise global awareness of human rights abuses.
All right, Control B, Q.
Abuses. Now at the top of
That's a bit too short of a time, so what I do, I'm going to expand it. Remember, I'm in trim mode right now, so what I did there, I pushed it, and it doesn't override that. Whereas if I do it in selection mode, you're overriding this and you're destroying it, right? So you don't want that. What I would do in this case, I could make it, push it, and then make it snap, or what I could do, use trim mode, make sure you're not like this, because that's gonna just shift both sides. You don't want that. You don't want this side to shift. What you want is this side to shift. And you're gonna push it, make it longer. Look at the waveform and try and make that space nice and wide, just enough.
Now at the top of
Alright, so now we're gonna do audio transition, Alt, highlight, Control T, and that's good.
rights abuses. Now at the top of the UN's Human Rights Enforcement and Rights. This office.
Alright, let's remove this pause, because that's a bit long. So Control B, boom. I'm gonna try and do a bit faster, okay? Because every time I'm saying it, I'm just losing time.
Human rights. This office acts.
Alright, so I'm gonna do it here too. Q, down, down, down. I'm gonna push it a bit more.
Right. This office acts as a global human rights watchdog for Commissioner for Human Rights. This office acts as a global human rights watchdog providing
Alright, too long here too. Let's remove that. Let's remove that. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Whoops. Go back. Alt highlight. Control T. And boom.
watchdog, providing legal expertise, technical
I'm gonna make that a bit light.
watchdog, providing legal expertise, technical assistance and advocacy.
Alright, technical assistance. I want that to be sharper. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it a bit. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. Remove one more frame. I'm gonna remove one more frame. No, that's not gonna sound good. Highlight. Boom. I think that's good.
Technical assistance,
Alright, I'm gonna try and cut your technical.
technical assistance,
Perfect. And remove this gap too. Just to let's see how it sounds, because you're not changing PowerPoints or changing topic or paragraph here, so you're saying the same sentence as well.
legal expertise, technical assistance and
Oh, that was a bit not long enough. I'm gonna make it a bit longer, okay?
legal expertise, technical assistance and advocacy.
So now listen to that. Listen to how many pauses we removed, and re-listen to this section so you understand if this is what you want, or if you prefer what we're doing. Because look at this, a lot of cuts here. You see here less cuts. It's much less cuts here, right? So here is much more open, and here there's a lot of cuts. So that's gonna waste more of your time. So make sure you understand. Like, look, if you want this, make sure that you're gonna be fine with more time of editing.
High Commissioner for Human Rights. This office acts as a global human rights watchdog, providing legal expertise, technical assistance, and advocacy.
All right, so that sounds good. Does it look good? I don't know. You might wanna, all right, I'm gonna expand this, gonna remove this cube.
Let's see. The UN High
All right, let's do add transition. I think that's good.
Assistance and advocacy. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights often plays a critical diplomatic role, publicly condemning human rights violations and pressuring governments to uphold international standards.
So I want that to uphold to be a bit sharper. So I'm gonna do B, Q, Alt highlight, Command T, bring it in, boom.
To uphold
See that? Took me like 2 seconds. All right, let's do, wait.
international standards.
All right, let's bring that a bit forward. Wait.
Standards. So the UN human rights system provides a global framework to monitor, expose, and pressure the violence to respect fundamental freedoms. Now, while the UN sets human rights standards, its ability to enforce them actually depends on political will. So, in essence,
I want the so to be gone, or no. The so doesn't need to be there. Does it sound better without it? Let's see. Shit. Back, boom.
political will. In essence, in many cases, countries comply.
In essence, so in essence, in many cases. Alright, I think that sounds okay.
Depends on political will. In essence, in many cases.
So what I just did there, you don't need to do, okay? Like, if you think this is overkill or this is actually ruining it, don't do it. I'm just, testing the ground, seeing how it sounds, and if so, leave it natural.
Depends on political will. In essence, in many cases, countries comply with.
See, that for me sounds better, but
UN
might not be worth the time I invested into making that.
recommendations, but in others, powerful states actually ignore them without consequences.
Alright.
So, how do these human.
I don't like that when you open your mouth like that, so I'm gonna just expand that, remove that, boom. Oh, got it.
Consequences. So, how do these human rights protections apply?
How long was that pause? So that's 21, and Alright, that's about 1 second. That's like that's like 3/4 of a second.
So, how do these human rights protections apply in real life cases?
Wait, let me see if that sounds too short.
Or states actually ignore them without consequences. So, how do these human rights protections
That sounds very flawless to me. Like it just
apply
sounds
in
good.
real life cases? Now, in the next section, we'll explore key examples of human.
So you're saying now in the next section. So you're finishing the PowerPoint. I think that's how you finish PowerPoint slides before going into the next slide. And so I would let the pause right here. Okay.
Now, in the next section, we'll explore key examples of human rights enforcement in action, examining both success stories and cases where the system
In action.
examining both
I will leave that pause.
success stories and cases where the system failed to deliver justice.
I think that was good. Boom. I like when you were looking at the camera for that long. I'm gonna expand that.
Now, at the heart of international human
I don't want the now. Fuck that. Alright, let's remove that. Let's first, before judging, listen to it, okay? And then we're gonna see if we keep on up.
deliver justice.
Alright, I could hear the echo. I don't want it. I'm gonna make the transition smoother.
Justice. At the heart
I can still hear the echo a bit more. I'm gonna pull it in because I don't want to hear the now.
of this. At the heart of international
Alright, I want to make it a bit shorter.
justice. Failed to deliver justice. At the heart of international human rights law are key substantive rights that define.
I think that's good. Alright, let's listen to that again. Look at you also look at your face.
Cases where the system failed to deliver justice. At the heart of international human rights law are key.
It might sound a bit too harsh, the start, but in this case, I think it's better than keeping that entire pause. If you want, we could just keep the now in there. We can just keep it in there, right, like this.
Deliver justice. Now.
Alright, remove this gap.
Justice. Now.
Alright, let's get the gap a bit less, right?
To deliver justice. Now, at the heart of international human rights
Maybe that sounds better.
law are key substantive rights that define the basic freedoms and protections every person should have.
Alright.
Courts around the world
No, that pause is good.
Play a critical role in interpreting and enforcing these rights, often through landmark
And that pause right here is also okay.
precedents. Now these set legal precedents. Now these cases shape how governments must respect, protect and fulfill human rights, ensuring that individuals are not left defenseless against abuse, censorship or violence. Now, one of the most fundamental human rights is the right to life. The very foundation of
So, alright, you can tell here that was weird. So we're gonna try and solve it. Starting from here, I didn't like this area right here when you said some word.
defenseless against abuse.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Let's try and remove the when you breathe in and maybe that sounds a bit better, more flawless, right?
Are not left defenseless against abuse, censorship. Not left defenseless against abuse. Not left defenseless against
Bro, that sounds weird, but okay. Let's just
abuse, censorship or violence.
censorship.
Or violence. Now, one of them.
Alright, I don't want the now anymore. I don't want nows. I don't want here. I don't want nows. Alright, that pause is way too long at the same time.
Or violence. One of the most fundamental human.
Yo, that was weird with your face. Let's remove this area and let's keep this longer. Alright, and wait, oops. Alright, highlight this, transition. So right now I'm not telling you what I'm doing with the shortcuts because I said it repetitively. Alt, highlight, Control T, go back, listen.
Violence. One of the most fundamental human rights is the right to life. Most fundamental human rights.
All right, let's remove this pause. Let's not do that too much, okay? Because in this section, there's a lot, it requires it quite a bit, but let's not do it too much. Like, I'm gonna leave this one in, so keep a bit of mistakes in there, but not too, you know.
One of the most fundamental human rights is the right to life.
You see that, like, one of the most is the is so fast, and that's good. I think that that's fluid. It doesn't seem like you had a hiccup or you know, you stuttered.
The very foundation.
I think I stutter a lot when I speak, actually. Whatever.
The right to life. The very foundation.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Life.
Let's not keep this too big, because in case there's like sound on each side.
The very foundation upon which all of other rights rest.
What do you mean rest? It's no rest.
Repeat sentence.
It's only work.
Now, one of the most fundamental human.
All right, now one of the most. Wait, I don't want to do that. That's I know it's quick, but just to make sure, Command B. Let's go into selection mode.
The very foundation upon which all of now one of the most fundamental human rights.
One of the most human.
One of the most fundamental human.
All right, so you see that? Why I shouldn't have done that. That's good. I went back, corrected my mistake of not just deleting too fast, understanding what you're deleting, and making sure you're fine with it.
Or violence. Now, one of the most fundamental human rights is the right to life, the very foundation upon which all other rights rest. Life. The very foundation upon which all other rights rest.
I think that's good that you.
But
I think that's good that you gave a bit of space. All right, I want to redo that just to show you. Let's go back into trim mode. Q. Boom. Close it in.
rest. But in situations where governments claim
Split it in even more.
rest. But in
Transition. Let's not forget that. Oops.
rights rest. But in situations where governments claim to act in the interests of public safety, how far can they go? The question was actually central in the case McCann v UK.
I know the tutorial is being quite long, but you know, this is how.
v UK. In McCann, a British Special Forces shot and killed 3 suspected members of the Irish Republic.
I think this is.
v UK. In McCann,
Okay. Oops. By the way, when you're gonna do yours, you're gonna be much faster because right now I'm doing tutorial stuff and you know,
UK.
not as quick. If I really wanted to do quickly, like.
Gibraltar, believing they were about to carrying out a bombing.
All right.
Carrying out a bombing. The UK.
All right. Let's add transition.
A bombing. The UK government argued that the killings were necessary to prevent an imminent terrorist attack. However, the human. However,
If I don't speak, I think I edit faster. Oops, sorry. I don't know. All right. That's good. See that worked? So I thought I clicked this and I did this. So instead of I went back. Oh wait, it changes this. That means I did not modify this. So I go Control Shift Z to go back forwards to undo that.
an imminent
continue.
terrorist attack. However, the European Court of Human Rights ruled that the use of force was excessive, stating that the authorities could have arrested the suspects instead of using lethal force. Now, this ruling reinforced the principle that governments must take every possible measure to avoid unnecessary loss of life, even when responding to security threats. But in essence, protecting human rights.
So, but I don't want a but. I don't want a so and a but. I want either a so or a but.
Pretty
I'm gonna
true.
leave the but because you had so many so's. I don't care about so's anymore. So is so overrated.
Security threats. But in essence, protecting human rights isn't just about life and death.
Okay, that was a big pause, and I think that's the same. Like, same paragraph, so let's bring it in together. All right, yeah.
About life and death. It's also about ensuring
Wait, I want to hear the death.
about life and death. It's also
See that? I made sure we hear the death.
about ensuring individuals can speak freely without fear of punishment.
Without what?
Without fear of punishment.
Yo, the stutter is a bit weird there. Let's try and solve that. Let's try and solve it. Solve things.
Fear of punishment. Without fear of punishment.
That sounds a bit okay.
Without fear of punishment.
That's good, I think.
So, unfortunately,
What I want to do now, I want to actually have that transition here. I want to have it after this. So I'm going to do this. Boom.
so
And I'm going to bring it in.
punishment. So, unfortunately, even in democratic
So remember what I did there? This icon, not this one, not this one, not this one, this one. And it goes in between, and I can move the cuts, you know, like that. Okay.
punishment. So, unfortunately, even in democratic societies, freedom of expression is frequently challenged, especially when it involves criticism of political leaders or powerful institutions.
That was a good conclusion, so I know you did not make a mistake.
As we see in the Eon v. France case,
Okay, let's remove that big gap. Let's try and make it a bit, you know, nicely done.
institutions. As we see in the Eon v. France
Wait, let's listen back. Don't listen it like this too much. Try and go further back.
case, all powerful institutions. As we see in the Eon v. France case, freedom of speech is
That's good for
often
me.
seen as a cornerstone of democracy, yet many governments impose restrictions on public criticism. In this particular case, a protester held up a sign mocking the French president only to be prosecuted under a law that criminalised insults against the head of state. The European Court of Human Rights
That's good.
ruled that this is freedom of state. Against the head of state. The European Court of Human Rights ruled that this violated freedom of expression, emphasising that political leaders must tolerate public criticism in a democracy. Now, this case reinforces that freedom of expression plays a crucial role.
See that you're finishing your sentence. I allow the pauses. Finish the sentence. I allow the pauses. If you're not finishing the sentence, there's a big pause, just like this one. I wouldn't allow it.
And holding governments accountable.
That's up to personal opinion. Okay.
However, the ruling also acknowledged that free speech is not.
However, that is the same sentence. I don't want to allow.
However, the ruling also acknowledged.
Acknowledged. All right. Let's give it some margin. Let's see how that sounds now.
Ruling also acknowledged that free speech is not an absolute right. Governments may.
See, that sounded okay. Maybe want to remove this gap, but I don't want to have it so close. I don't want to have like a cut and a cut and a cut. Not too many of them. Maybe in one sentence, have one or two, and that's it.
However, the ruling also acknowledged that free speech is not an absolute right. Governments may impose certain restrictions in cases involving hate speech, national security, or public disorder, as long as these restrictions are necessary and proportionate. Now, cases like Eon.
Okay, so I think that's good pause, but I want to just make it a little bit shorter. I don't know, something like this. Let's bring it back even more.
Proportionate. Now, cases like Eon v. France help define the limits of free speech.
Oh, let's chuck it a bit more into the middle.
Proportionate.
Like the cut, I don't want to have the cut to the end of that or to the start of that. I want to have it in between, so I just move it in between, okay?
Proportionate. Now, cases like Eon v. France help define the limits of free speech.
Oh, that pause.
France help define the limits of free speech, ensuring that governments do not use vague laws to silence dissent. Now, whilst in human rights.
Okay, that's okay. It's not too many errors. You have to see mine, where I improvise speaking. Jesus Christ.
Dissent. Now, while some human rights, such as free speech, can be subject to limited restrictions, others are absolute. One of the clearest examples of an absolute right is the prohibition of torture, meaning that no government can justify its use under any circumstances. So unlike the freedom of speech, which may be
Alright, let's remove this pause. Da, da, da.
circumstances. So unlike the freedom of speech, which may be lawfully restricted in certain circumstances, torture is always illegal, whether in times of war, national emergency, or law enforcement operations. Now, the case of Boyd v. Belgium from 2015 illustrates how even seemingly minor mistreatment by authorities can constitute a violation of this fundamental right.
I bet you're gonna say now. This looks like a now.
Right. In this particular
Oh, it wasn't. Whatever.
this fundamental right. In this particular case, two young men were slapped by police officers while being detained. While some may consider this a minor force, the European court ruled that any act of violence by authorities, no matter how small, violates human dignity and constitutes degrading treatment, as we have seen. This case sets an important precedent, making it clear.
Well, if I'm not sure this is big enough, just look at look at these numbers. So 1.122, so that's like 2 seconds, and 3:14. So so that's 1.5 seconds. Perfectly fine. It's below 2 seconds. It's good. Leave it.
Suffering. And that any abuse of power by state of physical suffering. And
Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want that's in the same sentence. Let's give it less space because let's make it sound more fluid. Oops. I thought I did something wrong there, so just redo what I just did there. So I thought I shifted it like this. Just make sure you don't do that.
extreme physical suffering, and that any abuse of power by state officials can be considered a human rights violation.
Sounded very good, okay. Alright, let's remove that. Boom. Let's make it a bit bigger on this side. Oops. Alright.
Violation. Now, while police brutality is one serious human rights issue, governments are not only responsible for preventing
Governments.
Governments.
Exactly. So B, and here was governments.
Governments are not.
Alright, so let's press W. Boom. Remove that. Add a transition.
Women. Governments. Women.
Alright, let's make it short. I can hear you inhaling. I don't want that.
Just women.
No, you just lifted the green screen. You lifted the green screen. Don't do that. That's gonna.
It's women.
Why do you lift the green screen? Shouldn't do that. I know it's. We should have nailed that green screen into the ground. Like, you should not supposed to be able to lift it.
Against women. Governments are not only responsible for preventing abuse by their own officials, but also for protecting individuals from harm in their daily lives. This responsibility was at the center of Yelov v. Bulgaria.
Right.
Was at the center of Yelov v. Bulgaria, a landmark case of violence against women.
Alright, let's remove this pause. I think this one is a bit too long. I can make it sound even better. Look at that. Just look at that.
Yelov v. Bulgaria.
It sounded just more fluid, more fluid.
Center of Yelov v. Bulgaria, a landmark case on women's rights and domestic violence.
Let's remove that there. Even shorter.
Violence. Violence against women is one of the most widespread human rights violations in the world. In this particular case, a woman endured years of domestic abuse and repetitively sought help from the authorities, filing multiple complaints. Now, despite her efforts, the state failed to intervene.
Alright. I know it's a sensitive topic, so you want to keep the pauses to give it more drama and more tension.
Complaints. Now, despite her efforts, the state failed to intervene and protect her from further harm. The UN Committee.
So keep that in mind too. It's all about personal taste. I'm doing it like the way, this is like the more hard work style, like you're not making any mistakes. I'm just improving it. But as you can see, probably from here, you can see here there's a lot of cuts. Look at that, lots of cuts. And you can see here there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cuts like in 10 minutes. But here there's like 100 cuts. So this takes more time. But this sounds probably like 90% less good than this. And that 10% difference is probably not worth the effort. And it's maybe more important for you to get more videos done and getting it like this rather than getting them all like this. Don't worry, the video is good enough also, so there's no need to there's more need to rush it than needing to not rush it and just say, oh, quality before quantity. Not in this case. In this case, it's good enough quality. Let's get the quantity up there.
The Committee on Elimination of Discrimination Against Women ruled that Bulgaria had violated her rights by not taking action to prevent this abuse. Now, this particular case established an essential legal principle that governments have a duty not just to punish perpetrators of gender-based violence after the fact, but to proactively protect women from harm. It reinforced that women's rights are human rights and that states must take active measures to ensure women live free from violence and discrimination. Now, each case has actually played a crucial role.
Good enough. I don't think the pause is like what? 3 and 1. It's good enough.
Now, each case...
That was 2 seconds long, and that's exactly the maximum I will allow.
Each such case has actually played a crucial role in shaping human rights law and defining how governments must act to protect individuals, from ensuring that law enforcement does not use excessive force, to defending free speech, to prohibiting torture, and protecting women from violence. These rulings set legal precedents that influence how human...
Yo, let's me reach. So I'm listening in times 2. Make sure that in times 2, the pauses also are 2 times shorter. So don't get influenced by that. And I don't get influenced by that myself. And so in this case, I know it's not, what I heard was a bit fast. And I heard a lot of pauses. Ooh, let's see if it sounds good in normal speed.
Excessive force, to defending free speech, to prohibiting torture, and protecting women from violence.
That is okay because there is like escalation of something in your explanation, so I wouldn't necessarily remove the pauses. You know, you're highlighting the key points of each sentence, and that's good enough.
These rulings set legal precedents that influence how human rights are enforced worldwide.
Worldwide, okay. It's a worldwide. Keep chain.
Worldwide. However, while these decisions create binding legal standards, real-world enforcement remains a challenge. In the next section, we will explore how international human rights law is applied in practice, looking at real-world enforcement mechanisms and the difficulties of holding states accountable.
Don't tell me you ended it like this. Okay, good.
Right. Delete the part where I'm saying in the next section we will explore how Continue with conclusion. Continue with conclusion.
All right, I'm gonna do it like let's try it your way, okay? So you said delete this part, so let's do that before listening to what's next.
Part where I'm saying in the next section we will explore
All right.
practice, looking at real world enforcement. In the next section.
All right, so let's do what you just asked us. Cue, boom, and let's continue from there.
In this discussion, we explore the core principles of human rights.
Yeah, I think that was good what I did there. I listened to you and I did not get confused.
The part where I'm saying in the next section we will explore how Continue with conclusion.
Continue with conclusion, boom, okay.
Enforcement remains a challenge. In this discussion, we explore the core principles of remains a challenge. In this discussion, we explore the core principles of human rights, their historical evolution, and the systems that enforce them. We examined how civil and political rights protect freedoms while economic, social, and cultural rights ensure well-being. We looked at regional courts and UN mechanisms that hold governments accountable and analysed landmark cases like McCann v UK, Eon v France, and Boyd v Belgium, which demonstrate how human rights laws impact real lives. While enforcement remains a challenge, these legal frameworks continue to play a crucial role in protecting dignity,
Yo, we can hear your computer.
Enforcement remains a challenge. These legal frameworks continue to play a crucial
Yeah, that's
role
your
in
computer.
protecting dignity, freedom, and justice worldwide.
Yo.
Thank you for watching, and
Alright, I think that's good. I'm gonna leave that pause. Let's see how long it was. 18 to 21. Ah, well, let's
justice worldwide. Thank you for watching, and
Now I'm gonna remove the too long. Sorry. You know, I know you're concluding. That's too long. I'm gonna give you some time to conclude, but not that much time. It's not. People have things to do.
justice worldwide. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.
All right, give it some time. Give it some time. Give it some time. You know, like I just want to make sure you're gonna give me time to have a nice outro. So yeah, I don't know. Like let's say from here it's 22. Let's say 32. So like 10 seconds. All right. So you cut it there. Boom. All right, all of that. Look, we can like, cube, boom, we delete everything there. Perfect, okay. So here is the video, it's done. So yeah. I was listening to in time 16. All right, so what we need to do now, okay? So you got the videos done. You got the video done. What I want you to do now is, and we were around here, and I was editing, like, as you can see in this section, there's not a lot of cuts because I was editing only the mistakes you made, okay? So these are only the mistakes you made. However, here, as you can see, there are a lot more cuts. In this section, there are so many more cuts, and that takes so much more time. And here, the thing about this is that once it takes a lot more time, you're not gonna do as many videos as you want to. However, if you wanna see like examples, like for example, here there's a lot of cuts. So now we're gonna listen to these cuts right here.
Human rights. This office acts as a global human rights watchdog, providing legal expertise, technical assistance, and advocacy.
So it might sound a bit robotic now as I listen to it, but if you listen to it before, so let's take let's do this. All right, and now we're going to expand it, and we're going to solo this. Okay, so now you can listen to only without the edits. Okay,
This office.
so now you're gonna listen to the thing without the edits. Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, wait.
For human rights. This office acts as a global human rights watchdog, providing legal expertise, technical assistance, and advocacy. The UN High Commissioner.
So that is the version without the cuts. Okay, now we're going to do the version with the cuts. Okay.
Now, at the top of the human rights, this office acts as a global human rights watchdog, providing legal expertise, technical assistance, and advocacy. The UN High Commission.
So what did we gain here? First of all, we gained approximately, so we're gonna calculate, we gained from 39 seconds to 43 seconds. So it's 4 seconds shorter. So we gained 4 seconds of time watching it. Also, might have made your sentences less stuttering and stuff, but that's up to personal taste. Whatever you feel is the best option. So let's say now you finish the video, okay? You're very satisfied with the result, and etc. Okay, and we're gonna go full screen, right here. We're gonna go full timeline, and we're going to Alt Control. So hold Alt and Control slide into Crystal, and actually no, before doing that, what I want to do is, hold Alt and Control, slide into Crystal, hold Alt and Control, and slide into Crystal here. Hey, by the way, let's rename this because I moved it before. Sorry, I know it's annoying because I'm changing things sometimes. I'm changing my mind sometimes, but PowerPoint, and this is Crystal track. Christelle and Christelle. Okay, so you don't get confused, okay? We're gonna delete empty tracks, okay? So right click, delete empty tracks, and we're gonna hold Alt Control. We're gonna slide into Crystal, hold Alt and Control, and slide into Crystal audio track. We want the audio to be the same. We want to right click and link clips. And now we want to Alt Control these, so PowerPoint tracks, both audio and video, and we want to right click and actually it was linked. We're gonna link them, make sure it's linked, okay? So now if I click on Crystal will select. If I click on the PowerPoint will select, and not all of it, okay? We don't want that. We want only each to be selectable individually. So now let's say that we want to edit, this section right here, okay? And we want to edit Crystal right here. We're gonna go to the color page, and we're going to you're gonna just look to understand what's going on. Don't do anything, just look. And I'm gonna change the color to something, okay? So let's do something more logical. Let's change the green to purple, okay? So I changed the green to purple, and now let's go back and let's play the video.
For monitoring compliance, investigating violations, and issuing recommendations.
Oh, what happened? Now it's turned back to green, but I wanted it in purple. That's because we edited only this section. This section we edited. And what we need to do is copy paste this into this one, into the next one, into the next one, into the next one, and that will take us years and years and years to do that. So it is a better method that I came up with. Let's delete this. So let's remove that. So let's reset the node grade. And what I came up with is that I right click. It doesn't open in timeline because in your case you might have this, but I don't have it in this case because I don't want to explain why. I know why, but I don't want to explain it because it will take a while and confuse you more. So just right click it and do find in media pool. Boom, you found it, it's here, okay? Now you right click it here and open in timeline. Boom, and it opens it there. It was already there, but just for a matter of understanding, now it's opening. Here we are in the raw clip. So now this is a raw clip. And now we go inside. We're going to add this effect, and this effect was so we go here. We're going to label and name it noise reduction, okay? Noise reduction, and we're going to go into this area right here, and we're going and then we're going to put temporal to 3, to this to better, motion radius to small. This we're gonna leave as it is, so press like as default. Here we're gonna put the AI Ultra and R, okay? We're gonna press analyze, so you're gonna click analyze. What's gonna happen when I click analyze here, as you saw, yours is gonna be in a different place, but here it is a little, so I can zoom in and I can hold my scroll wheel down to like slide and be able to see better, right? I can zoom in and see better. And I can press Z to full screen again, okay? Z, zoom in, and if you click Z, boom, it goes back to full screen. So what you want here you want to grab this, expand it, all right? And you want to find a place where there is no noise. So for example, let's say, for example, let's remove the effect. So let's do Control D, boom. We remove the effect. And you see this is noise, okay? This is noise right here. But you gotta find some place which is pretty dark and pretty noisy. Okay, so let's see here. Is this good enough? That looks pretty good, noisy, and that's a pretty good place to put it. Oh, but the laptop, oh, this is pretty dark right here, and this is a lot of noise. Like, you can really see the noise right here, and that's not good. And I'll explain why later. Right, so we're gonna put this down, bring this down right here. All right, make sure it's nicely in that dark area. That it's nicely in that dark area. We don't want it. All right, and that's gonna add, and now we do Control D to reactivate it. Okay, reactivate the node, and now that's analyzed, and that is gonna analyze it on its own, and that's it. That's done. It analyzed the frame we're in terms of noise. And now if we look here to the green screen, if we look at the green screen, I'm gonna deactivate it. So before and after, you see how the green became absolutely perfect, and before it's not. So if we go in the darker area where it's a bit more noisy, you see all that noise, right? So you see now after, you see there's so much less noise, and it's thanks to this right here. So make sure by looking at this right here that it doesn't go too low, the number like 20, yeah, I mean like, yeah, around 20 I think it was good. Right, I think 14, 12 is too low. 17, let's keep it at 17 right there. And why? Because we don't want too much. Because for example, if we want to remove more noise, we're going to look at your eyes and we're going to see how much detail we lost. So look at this right here. This is pretty sharp, or your eyelash. Look how much detail we lost. We lost your eyelash. So I think that's a bit too high. So we're going to put it at 15, something like that, 15.5. So before and after, right? Yeah, 15, something like that. All right, so I think this is good, 15. And actually, yeah, so that's pretty good. We don't miss too much details on you then. So now the whole video, if we advance on the video anywhere, doesn't matter. You got perfect noise. Like there's no more noise on the video. But as you can tell, if I play the video and I press spacebar, you see it's only going 2 frames per second, which is very, 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 very slow. You can see how slow you're going, and that is not possible to edit like this. That's why you always put this effect at the very end. Or what you could do, you could press this, and it's gonna bypass color grades and fusion effects, meaning that now the effect is off. Every single color effect that everywhere, it doesn't matter if it's in this one or in another one, every single effect in everywhere is gonna go off. And this will help you be able to add the effect. You just turn it on at the end, boom, and now it's back on, and it allows you to be able to edit it. So you turn it off, do all your edits, and we're gonna turn it back on later. Okay, so right now what we're going to do, we're going to go to video 11. We're gonna go click on timeline, and we're gonna press Control C and click outwards and Control V. We're going to rename this, okay? So does it allow us to rename it like this? No, so we gotta double click. All right. And we're going to name this PowerPoint timeline and number 11, and here we're gonna name this Crystal timeline number 11, okay? And what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to Crystal timeline. So if you want to go back like this, open timeline, boom, it's gonna go back in there. Or you could just click it, right? So you could just click it here. Make sure you got this on right here, so you're able to see these tabs. And what we're going to do here, we're going to close Crystal Comp because we don't need it anymore. We don't need it. And as I said, the effect we added has been affected everywhere. So the noise reduction is everywhere here. That's why that's why we affect inside the raw clip and not the comps, because the comps is made to help us do the cuts, but without affecting the original clip. And that's a very dynamic way and not destructive way of editing. And what we're going to do now, we're going to select, so this is Crystal timeline. So we're going to select the PowerPoint and delete it. We're only going to keep Crystal, okay? Bring it down, or if you don't want to bring it down, you can just right click here and delete empty tracks, boom, and that's it. Now you press Control S to save. Control S, just save a couple times, press it like 3 times, okay? Control S, Control S, Control S, make sure it's saved. And now we're going to go to 11 PowerPoint timeline, and we're going to press on Crystal this time, and we're going to delete her. We're going to right click here, delete empty tracks. Now we got the PowerPoint, all right? And here we got Crystal timeline, okay? Now, as we don't want to edit anything else, make sure you lock it and make sure you add the effects. Boom, so now this is gonna turn on everything and this is ready to export. Going to a PowerPoint timeline, and now this is ready to export. We're ready to export the PowerPoint. But now, I'm gonna say something different, something that you did not, I don't have right, you're having the problem, but I don't have the problem because I already solved it. Something I did extra is, let's go and find it into Media Pool, all right? Let's go and open it up, boom. And let's go and click here and let's reset this, okay? You see here it's not full screen. You see this is not full screen because your laptop screen records in a different aspect ratio of the actual video. Your laptop is not a 16:9, so it's going to have a different aspect ratio, and we don't want that. We want to have it nice. So what we would do is we would go inside here and we would zoom in a lot. Zoom in, 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 zoom in. And we would hold shift, click here, click and drag to the right, okay? Click and drag to the right, okay? And we're gonna zoom in even more. We're going to do it manually then, okay? So 10, all right. We're gonna do 11, boom. Oh, that's perfect, okay. So that's good, and we press Z to go full screen. So Z to go full screen, and now this is full screen. As you can see, before and after, now that's full screen, that's perfect. Now we can go back to pull this back up. We're going to Control S to save. And we're going to go here and we're going to lock it, and everything is ready. So timeline, PowerPoint timeline, Crystal timeline is ready to export. So when we're here, you see both timelines, and that's perfect. So we're going to go to Crystal timeline. We're going to go to delivery. Let's redo this. So we're going to click QuickTime, DNxHR. Do not do HD. DNxHR, okay, this is important. We're going to do DNxHR HQX 10-bit. We want 10-bit color, okay, 10-bit color. We want to have 4K Ultra HD. Do not put it at timeline resolution. Have it at 4K Ultra HD. Or actually, I don't know, put it at timeline resolution because it's fine. You're gonna have it either way at 4K. So it's already at 4K, so we don't care too much. 4K, just make sure where it's grayed out it's 4K. So 3840, 2000, that's 4K. And that's something I just know by heart. I just know that's 4K, but yeah, just make sure. If you don't know what resolution it is, just go back to edit page, go into footage, and go into Crystal OG footage raw, which I renamed. If you don't see these icons right here, so just the drop down, go into list, go here and look for resolution. Boom, resolution is here, frame rate FPS is here. You see the PowerPoints are in 60 frames per second. Crystal OG footage raw, which we named, is 23.976. So we want the timeline to be this right here, 23.976. So we go into settings, 23.976, perfect, and it's 4K. We go into settings and it's 4K, same resolution as here, okay? We do not want the one here. We want the one of your green screen. The green screen is what matters. Green screen is what matters, okay? That's everything you need to know. And now we're gonna go down. So resolution, frame rate, 23.96 frames per second, okay. We're going to use constant bit rate, yes. We're going to force sizing, so make sure this is on, force sizing to highest quality. And we're going to store this inside documents, Crystal. We're going to go to video 11. We're going to go to exports. And we're gonna save it in here, boom, export here, okay? And then we're going to go to video 11 Crystal V1 and we name it like this, video 11 Crystal V1, version 1, okay? We don't know how many versions it would have, so we put version 1, okay? Name it like this for everything else, and yeah. So that is ready. So we add to render queue, we added it. We click off, just in case, you'll see why later. And we go back to here, PowerPoint timeline. We're going to export this, and here let's click on clips so you can see better. And we're going to make sure like you see the full timeline here. You can like on the slider, okay, you already know this. Here we're going to name this to PowerPoint V1, so video 11 PowerPoint V1. We're going to browse it in the same place, so Crystal video 11 exports, boom, so that's saved in there. And we're going to put a different type. We're going to put it for DNX SQ, okay, a DNX HRSQ. So that's the difference, okay? Why? Because we don't need 10-bit. That's going to be a huge file size. This is good enough, okay? So SQ. Timeline resolution, timeline frame rate, and constant bit rate, force sizing to highest quality, and we go add to render queue. Now, do not press add render. First of all, you click off, and now it's going to render all. You press render all. If you have one selected and you say render, it's only going to render one clip, and that's only going to be that one. We want to render everything, right? So you're going to add one, and you're going to add another one, and you're going to add another one, and it's not going to have only 1, 2 in there. It's going to have a lot in there. And this right here, with the effect that we added of the anti-noise, noise reduction, that is going to make the video so much harder to process. And that video is going to be probably like 8 hours to export. So this video is around this video is around 28 minutes and 31 seconds long. So 28-minute video, 30-minute video approximately. And in this case, so this is going to take approximately like 5 to 6 hours, okay? And we don't know how many. So you're going to leave this loading for a couple days or nights. So you don't need to download them. You don't need to render them. You can just add them to render queue, do this step, and go and do other stuff. Go and edit other things, and then go back here and add it here, and then do other videos and do other videos, and then edit video one, and then do all the thing and add it to delivery, render it, add to render queue, and boom. When you won't edit for like the weekend or something, you come in here, you make sure you're not on anything, you click off everything, and you press render all, and then you just leave the laptop, you leave the computer working for whatever whatever amount of time it requires. So like, I don't know how many days. You just come here to verify, and I think like you leave it for like 2 to 3 days, depending on how many videos you have. Make the calculation like if it's 5 hours, so it's gonna take approximately 12 minutes per minute. Okay, so 12 minutes per minute, and yeah, okay, I got it. So a 50-minute video is gonna take approximately 10 hours to load. That's my prediction, okay? And that's in a bad case. So that's good enough for you to know, like, look, if I got 10 videos to render, that's gonna take like maybe 2 to 3 days. You just leave the computer loading, and that's gonna do the big work for me. So when I have to do the green screen keying, it's gonna be a perfect quality key, and I'm gonna have an amazing, much easier time editing than to have to deal with this. So here, what you would do in masters, you have video, you take this, you do Control C and Control V, boom, and then you start modifying the names of everything, okay? And that's how you would do it. You just never touch video, you just duplicate it, and then you can create more folders, and that's how you would organize yourself to have more videos. And this is the way to do it, and it's gonna be much easier to be able to stack different projects into one and be able to download everything separately. So yeah, hopefully you've understood, and this is going to be very easy for you to do. And yeah, the hard drive, you're not going to be using the hard drive, you're only going to be using the computer. So that's going to be much more reliable as well. You're going to have less glitches and stuff like that. Perfect. One more thing. So here you have master, right? So this, if you want to do a new video, you would do Command C and Command V. You duplicate it, okay? And then here you change the names, okay? So here, video copy. If you want to do video 1, you would change it to video 1, okay? You would go inside and you would do footage, and you would do 1, okay? And you would go inside here and you would do 1 space, okay? And that's how you would change things, okay? So this is how I would recommend you to do it. Like this, name it always 11, something like that, 11 bar footage or something like that. It needs to be clear. So in masters, that's where you have all your videos. And so whenever you want to create a new timeline, you go into video 1, you create, I don't know, like you put footage inside the folder, you drop it in, you create new timeline, okay? You name it however you want, you create it, and that's it. And then you can close the previous timelines and you can start over from there, okay? And that's how you would do for the next video.